determination to conquer all my ambitions. Despite all the conditions, in light of my past decisions, made it to this position, and so my disposition, not seeing no limits, killing the competition. Yeah, I'm a beast, now I'm unleashed, ready to feast, calm and peace, not the least.
Good,
And what's going on, people? It is Saturday night, and we are live with the next podcast. Guys, I am super excited for tonight's show. There is a topic in here that I hear snowballing out there in the gaming community, the Xbox gaming community, and I think it's a topic that we really need to tackle. It's going to be a really interesting show tonight, but we can't get into the topics without doing the intros. But before the intros, I want to give a huge shout out to our boy Michael, who already hit up the super chat, getting the show started right. So here we go. And the first man I'm going to introduce from the panel, he is that man who hunts down the truth in the gaming news. We know him as Predator.
Hey, what's going on? Missed last week's show. Happy to be back and get this shit going off right. Thanks for the $10 out there, Mike. And let's go. Let's get this shit going.
Nice. And next on the list, coming live from the 405, and you see his gameplay. This is the gameplay that actually won the voting from last week. I am talking about my brother, K Mega.
What's up? I do like that new graphic for the winner. That looks super salty. I like it.
Nice.
And to the victor, the spoils. As I watch you guys gameplay, that's really deep down, y'all are just nothing but second place. But anyway, no, we're gonna have a great show, man. I'm glad to be
guys,
here, as always.
How come I can hear him being kind of like that front row critic? Like after this gameplay goes, man, our gameplay is gonna go, and he feels like he has that upper echelon seat to really try to critique our gameplay. Do you guys see this coming? Do you guys? That's what I think is gonna happen tonight, man.
This is him being him.
Oh my, listen to this. Come on. Hey, you know, on the Muppets, those two old guys that sit on the balcony.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was thinking.
I'll be that guy.
Well, that's me. I'll be that guy today.
Oh my goodness! But you
look terrible.
But you need a partner, man. There's not one old man. There's two. I don't know. But yo, check this out. My lights are flickering, and that means it is time to introduce this man. Everybody out in the chat, it's time to stand up, show that respect, kiss that ring, the Don.
Hey guys, you'll never hear me beg for votes like these two, so let's start off the podcast right.
Hold on,
let's get to the
two?
topic.
Can I ask which two? Because that means that there's one that doesn't. Are you
they keep you guessing, right? They keep you guys on your toes.
Oh man.
Yeah, I want to give a huge shout out, to the rest of the next family. Of course, we have the Angry Otter, who wasn't able to make it today. He's had something going on with his family and stuff, so huge shout out to him. I was actually going to put in the bottom right-hand corner, like a sad otter, and be like, where's Otter? Kind of like a where's Waldo type thing. But I was like, you know what? It's kind of like a family matter, so I didn't want to put it to that level. So huge shout out to Otter. Huge shout out to O-Snaps, who is in the chat right now. And of course, Newark NJ, the wizard of the UWP, our boy Fuskies, the golden voice of the Next Podcast. Shout out to the entire Next Podcast family. Shout out to everybody checking out the show right now. All our sponsors, all our diehards, and of course, everybody who checks out the show afterwards. Guys, we are going to get into it today. And first, I want to start off with something that might be a little bit lighter. Something I'm really excited about. News came out this past week about a title for the PS4 called Spider-Man. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this character. He is a part of the Marvel universe, the comic book universe. He's kind of a big deal in some places, but his game is coming out September 7th on the PS4. And I just got to ask the panel, let's start with K Mega. Mega, are you excited for this game? Have you been keeping track of this and kind of like seen the details coming out from Game Informer so far when it comes to Spider-Man?
Yeah, I just seen a little bit of it. I haven't been keeping track of it because when I first seen it, when I first heard about it was coming, I wasn't interested. And I remember we was talking about this last year. And then I seen it at E3 and then it perked my interest
We've
because
been talking
it looked
about
really
it for
cool.
like 2 years, man. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, last year's, you're right. It's been about 2 years, but last year when we seen it at E3, they actually got into showing the sequence of what you could do, and I was like, okay, this game looks pretty good. But after seeing what they did on Game Informer, it looks great. It looks fantastic. Yeah, this is going to be a PlayStation Day one for me. So for right now, we're looking at the two games that I'll get for PlayStation. Will be Detroit and will be Spider-Man. So I'm excited for it. Looks dope.
So you're going Detroit and Spider-Man. See, I'm in kind of like crap gamers camp when it comes to this. Like the two games, there's basically two games for the PS4 coming out that I have, some really big interest in, and that is God of War and then Spider-Man. But you're going Detroit over God of War?
Absolutely, yeah. I told you. I made it clear. I'm not interested in this God of War. If I want to play this new God of War, only thing I got to do is just boot up my Bloodborne, because that's exactly what they changed the fighting scheme to, where you got to fight with the bumpers and all that crazy stuff, or I should say Dark Souls. It's to me, that's a disappointment. I don't care how good the game looks.
All right. Well, let's get kind of like quick impressions going down the panel. Then I want to ask about the collector's edition, all that good stuff. Kind of share some news as well for people who don't know, kind of like the gameplay mechanics and stuff. But let's hit up the Don. He is the indie developer of the panel, so I'm interested to hear. Don, how does Spider-Man look to you, and what do you think about September 7th? Is that a good spot for this game to drop, man?
That's a good spot if it comes out on that date.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, dude.
Here's the thing: it's not an Insomniac thing, right? Like Insomniac has a good track record,
yes,
and actually you have a pretty good track record with Sony and Xbox. I wasn't sure how the whole EA thing went, if it was on time or not. I think that one got delayed a bunch, but so they do have a good track record together. The problem that I always have is when Sony games are announced so far out, the chances are that they're just going to get delayed. And it's not picking on the game or anything like that. So for me, I just don't want to put myself in a position where I get overly excited and then, get up my hopes set up that I'm going to be able to play it this year and not be able to. Because it does look like a good game. I want to get it. Matter of fact, it was funny. Last E3, I wasn't really sold on Spider-Man. I became sold on Spider-Man at last E3.
Yeah, I think we had that conversation last year too. Man.
Yeah, but the same token, they unsold me on God of War.
Oh no.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like gain one, lost one sort of thing with them. So, Spider-Man's one of the few AAA games I'm going to be getting on that platform. So, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it comes out this year. I hope it doesn't come out broken. I hope it's a good game. But I'm just not going to hold my breath yet until we get closer to game time, if you know what I mean.
When it comes to what you said, and I made a video about this when they announced the date. I made a video on my channel, and I was like, now the real wait begins. And I have more confidence than other titles this past generation with the PS4, just because Insomniac is the developers behind this. I don't think they would come out and show that they are this ready. You know what I'm saying? If it was a little bit looser of a release date. So I hear what you're saying.
They also have a good track record with Sony, because it's not just there's more people involved, right? There's the publisher and the developer, and sometimes there's friction there, and they know how to work well. They delivered on time with Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox. The only thing I don't know on the history wise, I think. And I don't want to misquote, but I think the whole EA game that they worked on didn't quite pan out in the time frame they were hoping for. But I don't know. It's one of those things. If they're that sure of it, if you look at God of War, right? Why didn't we just find out 2 months prior to the game coming out?
Right.
So if they're that's where it kind of questions. If you look at Detroit. Why did we find out just 2 months prior to the game coming? Because they knew it was locked and in the chamber and ready to go, right? So I'm hoping this is a sign showing that the game is locked in the chamber, ready to go. We're going to be able to play it on that time. But that far out, it makes me question. And there's nothing wrong with questioning that, because, they have a history of it.
Yeah, man, and like I said in my video, I was like, now because there is a date out there, now I will be counting the minutes until September 7th, and I want to let everybody out there know I am a huge huge Spider-Man fan. I grew up, my dad used to collect comic books. He actually gave like the comic book collection to me. But from the time I was like 4 years old, I was able to go in and read, you know, whatever comic books I wanted to read and stuff like that. And I gravitated towards Spider-Man in a big way. Man, I had so many comic books, but I always kept going to Spider-Man. And that's one of the things that really fuels my excitement for this game. You put together a quality development team like Insomniac, a character like Spider-Man, and I'm excited for this game. Predator, what do you think, man? Is this a reason to have a PS4 from what you've seen? Are you excited for this game coming out?
I'm not a big comic book fan, to be honest with you. The game looks good. I may pick it up later on down the road, but it's not a day one buy for me, just because I'm not into that kind of stuff. So I've never really been into the comic book scene at all. So but what I've seen of the game so far, like, you know, from E3 last year and the gameplay we saw this week, it looks like a great game. I may pick it up, but right now it's on the back burner. I'm gonna get God of War right now for my PlayStation. That's the only thing I'm gonna get this year.
All right, so only one game so far for the PS4 this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't use it that much as it is. I think I've got like 5 games on it so far. So there's usually I usually get the exclusives on there. If it comes out on PC and then comes out on PlayStation, and if I want, like what was the game that's coming out on Xbox that I got, Hellblade, I got that on PC. Yeah. I'll elect to go to the PC route, but like I got Uncharted, I got you know, some of the bangers that came out last year on my on my PlayStation. So I'm not sure on Spider-Man right now. I'm gonna hold on and see what happens later on down the road with it.
All right. Well, we talked about this yesterday on Crossfire as well, and one of the things that came up was, you know, the kind of like the Ultimate Collector's Edition. It's $150. It comes with a steelbook. It comes with a Spider-Man sticker, a mini art book, a statue, DLC, and a few outfits as well for Spider-Man. Because if you're even a moderate, like semi-casual fan of Spider-Man games, you know you need different Spider-Man costumes. It's just kind of like a staple, man. Spider-Man has like hundreds of costumes in his comic books. So, but $150, man. What happened?
It comes with the game,
That's
right?
what I was getting to. Crap Gamer is like, yo, it comes with the game? Sign me up, man. Well, Pred, I know you said you're not a big comic book person or anything like that, but what do you think about that collector's edition? And what do you think about their marketing as well? Because they're showing like the top of the statue. They're only showing like one outfit right now. They're going to show another outfit, I think, in like August, and then another one at like a date later than August. I think it's creating hype, man. What do you think?
I think you're right. I don't like that ideal, just like showing bits and pieces of what you get in it. But I think they should, but like you're saying, it builds hype. So like you're gonna wait until next time they drop the next skin. You're gonna go, oh yeah, I gotta get it. But it's, you know, I'll take this from a page from the Dallas Cowboys book. Like all news is good news, even if it's negative. So like they keep putting information out there, slowly dripping, you know, the information out there is going to continue to maintain the hype for it, versus like if they said everything right now and then let it die down until like, you know, a month before launch, that would be a foul on their part. But like they're just going to continuously maintain the hype for the game by dropping content little by little. Mm-hmm. It just builds up a little bit more for the game.
Nice. Yo, shout out to Ace Junkie over on Mixer, because we are restreaming. We are showing live on YouTube and on Mixer. Ace Junkie said that he bought a PS4 and he pre-ordered Spider-Man. So that is freaking awesome. Anytime I see, you know, people getting into the Spider-Man universe, I get excited. But Mega, what do you think about the collector's edition and how they're marketing it? Like, I think it's a good idea, man. I can't wait for them to kind of unveil the second part of the statue and then over time, like, see the different outfits that comes with it. But what do you think, man?
Oh no, I mean, it's just like with anything that Sony's been doing when it comes to the marketing. It's like the Midas touch, man. It's just always golden what they do. So yeah, it's just another hit for them. I actually think that Spider-Man is going to do better than God of War by a lot. I don't think it's going to be close, in my opinion.
So by a wide margin, you're saying not even close.
Right. I think that I'm, you know, from what I'm looking at it from is that it's going to probably try to catch up to be Uncharted 4 numbers, because I just think that a lot of people are gravitating to it. You see a lot of people saying that they pre-ordered, you know, Spider-Man, and they haven't had a PlayStation 4 yet, but they're going to get it just for this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's caused a lot of buzz. It's getting, to me, it's getting more hype than what God of War is. I think that there was more of the, you know, fanboys that just kept trying to press God of War, and because of the way it looks really good.
Yeah.
That people are being excited about that, but not like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's getting a lot of hype, and so you know, and kudos for PlayStation for getting that game to be exclusive, because I'm like Pred, like most games, if they go to the PC that's on the 4, I get them on the PC, and so I would have got Spider-Man on the PC, but because it's coming to the 4, I'll get it on the 4.
I got you, man. And now, when it comes to Spider-Man and it's kind of like, you know, being exclusive to the PlayStation, I don't think that was really a hard thing to do, because at the end of the day, Spider-Man is still a property of Sony. I know a lot of people.
They own the movie rights, not the game rights.
Yeah, not the game.
They're different.
They don't
Totally
own
different.
like the character rights.
No, because
like, for example, like Marvel still owns the rights towards like doing these sort of comic books, right? Like that's their property, and Marvel still has to be tied to everything. But what Sony has is originally was the rights to do their movies, and there are some stipulations in there and all that sort of stuff with their contracts. Like they don't produce a certain amount of movies in a certain period of time; they have to give up the rights, all this sort of stuff. It's almost like a weird lease thing. And the same thing with this. Like Activision originally had the rights, I believe, before.
Yeah, which was that. This is one of the reasons why this Spider-Man is so hyped as well, because finally, you know, Activision is away from Spider-Man. That's another big thing, man.
It was a little bit of that copy and paste. Development kind of thing, because they had a good Spider-Man, and then it kind of just got stagnant. It got stale.
Are you talking what, Spider-Man 2? That's the one that most people are saying.
I remember playing one Spider-Man that was done by Activision that was fun, and it was relatively new at the time. And then next thing I know, they kept pumping them out, and I'm like, hey, this is not getting any better. Like, you know, and this is now starting to show its age. So I just stopped playing them.
See, I liked Shattered Dimensions. I thought that was a decent Spider-Man, but to be honest with you, I haven't been this excited about a Spider-Man game since a game called Maximum Carnage, which actually came out on Super Nintendo, man. That's how excited I am. That to me, that's still my favorite Spider-Man game all time, and I'm hoping that, you know, Insomniac can kind of dethrone that game and have this game be my number one. With that being said, like, where do you guys think this is going to rank? I mean, we saw gameplay. We haven't heard like the full story yet. There's going to be like this living world going on. There's going to be missions that deal with other villains and stuff like that, not just Mr. Negative. Does this have the chance? And we'll go with K Mega first. Does this have the chance to possibly be the best Spider-Man game to ever come out?
It could. I mean, Insomniac does great work, and you can see resemblance of a little bit of Sunset Overdrive, the way he kind of runs on the wall.
Dude, that animation is identical to Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
Right, and also like kind of like when you see the different Spider-Man outfits, like the one with the spike hair, it just made me feel the customization of that game, of the old game too. I mean, the game that's on Xbox. So I just kind of like it has the recipe to be just fantastic. I think it will probably come out to be like that, especially. This is going out to be a AAA. I don't know if the game on the Xbox, I can't even think of the name of it right now. I'm thinking about. I was just talking about it. I'm getting old right now. Sunset Overdrive. Yeah, I'm getting old.
That was like 2 seconds ago, man.
Yeah,
well, I'm looking for something else on my.
Computer. He's staggered by Predator's gameplay right now. Is what's going on, man.
Yeah,
you just can't think.
Man. I was looking at that, man, but I'll also look at something. But anyway, it has a lot of similarities, and it kind of makes me wish that Sunset Overdrive would get another chance. But again, I think this Spider-Man is going to be probably the best one. I mean, this is a big deal, man. And so, kudos to Insomniac making a great game, because I think that this will be a hit.
Nice.
It would definitely be a hit.
Nice. Now, the other two on the panel, they don't seem as enthused about Spider-Man, but I will leave it up to you guys. Do you guys think this has the chance to be the #1 Spider-Man experience as a video game?
I have some concerns, to be honest with you. They have a lot of, like, I don't know if they're a lot, but they did talk about there's some walk and talk areas where you're playing other characters, and I think that's going to slow down the game.
Oh, the Mary Jane missions you're talking about.
Oh, there's more than just that.
Yeah, no, they said there's more, yeah. You also play as Peter Parker as well, so...
Yeah, I'm not interested in that part of it. And that may slow down the momentum. It looks and feels like filler. And it may not be. It may add to the game. I don't really know. It's just judging from afar, but that's the one area that's got me a little bit concerned. I mean, but it is still. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm not going to buy it. I'm just, that could turn it from an A game to a B game in my mind.
Yo, guys, what if I told you? Do you guys remember like the helicopter scene where it had that big like hunk of metal hanging from the helicopter, and Spider-Man was swinging through the city trying to catch up to it?
Yeah.
Every
last year.
Yeah, everything that he did, even shooting straight forward, going in between like the letters on the signs and stuff, that was all done by the person holding the controller. It wasn't like an automatic, that's where they're gonna go all the time type thing, and you're gonna see that. So you can actually like replay that, take a different left and a different right, and have it like end up like coming together in a different location and stuff. Yo, to me that sounds awesome. What do you guys think?
It sounds dope. I mean, that's yet to be proven, because to me it seems like it's one of those games that, with the QTEs and with it's kind of more, it guides you until you start web slinging. To me, you know what I'm saying, until you start getting to a point where you see somebody and you want to do a side mission. But I think once you get to a main mission, it kind of will guide you, and then you can get back in the sequence, But I could be wrong.
I think you're right in the sense that it goes open and then it closes up to this is what's going on now, right? Like you get to this checkpoint because that's the goal, and there's a building, and the next thing you know, you go through the building. You're not going to randomly go through every building in the game. It's just, you can't make a game like that. It just doesn't work. So, you got these open parts, and then you got some parts going to be a little closed off. That's from what I've seen. That's what it at least looks like.
I got you. Well, they went into the gameplay on Game Informer saying that there's like this kind of like straight shooting when you hit the X and you look at a building. If you look behind you and hit X, you automatically do a 180. K-Mega talked about, running on the walls and stuff like that, and how it's basically, it is the exact same animation that, Xbox gamers are used to with Sunset Overdrive, if you have played that game. I mean, all in all, I'm really excited for this game. I am a Spider-Man fan, so I'm talking with some bias here, all right, guys? Like, I am pumped for this because finally there's a quality developer. Activision doesn't have their fingers in this game at all, and they say it's coming out September 7th. So I am excited. But let's move on to something a little more juicy, something a little more, I don't know, semi-accurate, maybe. Information came out over on social media this past week that a website called Semi-Accurate. It's a site where you pay $1,000 subscription fee and to gain access into this site. And throughout certain points, throughout the last few years, they have put up articles about the PlayStation 4, about the Xbox One, about the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, all before the game consoles, I believe, were even announced, or they had just got announced, and they dove in and they actually gave some really pretty accurate information about these things. Well, this website is back at it again with the PlayStation 5, and this article states that there's a possibility that the PS5 is coming out in 2018. I don't know. Yo, Predator, have you seen this information talking about, the hardware and the possible launch statement? What do you think about this article, dude?
I saw a little bit of it. I just kind of brush past it. I think it's really too soon for the PS5 to come out. If I was a PS Pro owner, I'd be pissed right now if that was going to happen. This is too much hardware in such a short amount of time. I mean, you got to think we've had in the last 2 years, I guess, maybe the Switch, the Slim, the X, the Pro, and now you're coming out with another one. That's just way too much stuff out there on the market right now. And I mean, I'm not sure of all the specs and stuff like that. I didn't read into it because I kind of thought it was a bunch of bullshit anyway. So it's just too soon. And 2020 is a good time frame. I think 2018 with the hardware that's out right now for PCs and stuff like that. I mean, what are they going to put in this thing right now? It's going to be, comparable or cheaper than the X right now. I mean, I think it's too soon. This is my personal opinion. And I can't see myself paying $1,000 to get subscribed to a fucking website.
Dude, that's what I was thinking, man. I was like, I would not pay $1,000 to subscribe to a website, dude.
You're going to get the information at some point anyway. So it's not a big deal.
Well, to break it down a little bit, they talked about CPU, GPU architecture. They talked about, the CPU being Zen, which I feel is a no-brainer anyway when it comes to the next gen. It's just like which iteration of the Zen CPU are they going to put in these things? And then GPU. This is an interesting thing here. GPU, the article said Navi. If people who are into GPU architecture and stuff, we're dealing with AMD's Vega right now. Navi, I think it was at one point slated to be at least talked about this year, but I think they are more or less unveiling and coming out with it in 2019. But to really talk about AMD and stuff like that, I want to get to Don in here, his thoughts about this article. And Don, are they making sense here with a Navi GPU architecture with a Zen CPU, man?
I think that's just basics. I mean, if you just rewind the clock back not too far ago, right? Everything that your PS4 Pro and your Xbox One X got bits and pieces of Vega in it, right? They cherry picked some of the feature set, they integrated into the older chip design, and they're taking advantage of it. I mean, it's one of the reasons why the memory bandwidth's so good on the X, for what it is. And it's one of the the Rapid Path Max stuff is some of the stuff they got from basically the Vega architecture. So I mean, you are going to get bits and pieces of future tech in your hardware. The question is how much future tech you're going to get, but that leads me also to believe that when they're saying that, I'm like, man, it just doesn't. Vega hasn't been on the market that long, right? Mm-hmm. So to have Navi integrated before Navi comes out, it seems like Navi is just a little further out. Yeah. Just the technology in general, which inherently kind of bogus is this whole article of it being further out as well. And we know that PlayStation 5 is going to be more powerful than the X. I mean, it's inevitable.
That's a no-brainer, dude. You're talking about
you built
another
later.
generation.
I mean, flashy news, right? The Xbox One X2 is going to be more powerful than the X right now, right? Like, we know that. So, I mean, that's without a question. And if they go with AMD, these are the logical components. But there's bits and parts of that whole thing that just seems clickbaity for $1,000 subscription to me.
Well, dude, within all this, I want to give a shout out to somebody on Twitter. He goes by the name Eric Cordero, and because this topic has lit Twitter on fire for like the last 3-4 days or so. And Eric came in, he was like, 2019 sounds more plausible. He talked about, having the Zen in as a CPU as, your basic next step with that. When it came to the GPU architecture, he said, Vega with bits and pieces of Navi, kind of like what they did with the Xbox One X, and putting bits and pieces of Vega in there and the Pro as well.
But they did, they did with both. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
I wasn't like discluding anybody. I was saying it all, man.
Yeah, but it's one of the things. Like, this whole article doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like, normally when you have kind of PC specs that they try to give out to developers to kind of mock up a kit, right? That Xbox did it publicly. Right? They told you what the memory bandwidth is. They told you how much memory you're going to have in the system overall. Mm-hmm. And then they give you a rough idea of what your CPU and your GPU is, roughly. And you can start, mocking up something that's going to apply to that. And that's a year out before they even get hardware. Like for a developer even gets hardware. So, and here's the other thing is a lot of my contacts is nothing has, there's no developer documents being kicked around. There's some random people being asked what they would like to see in the system. I mean, it seems like in such early stages from everything I'm seeing. I mean, Insomniac Games, I have, for example, I use their memory profile in my game. So Insomniac actually made the tools for part of my game, and I'm integrating into what I'm doing through Unreal. And so the memory profiles are to help with multiple consoles. It's also supposed to help out with multiple PC configurations. And there's nothing that makes sense in there in regards to the next generation PlayStation 5, and they have one of the strongest relationships as a third party that I can think of that I would see any sort of sneak peeks behind the scenes. And so, like, there's more signs pointing to it being further away than being closer. And I just think people they're willing into existence and they're going to be disappointed.
All right, well, Don, I know you're going to chime in as we kind of really flesh out, this topic, but we got to hear from K Mega. I'm interested to hear what K Mega thinks about this article. That whole possibility of 2018. I know within the article he said it's a possibility because of how many dev kits are actually out there with third-party dev teams. So Mega, what do you think about this? Like, I'm not sure how much you want to get into the hardware when it comes to the Zen, the Navi, all that good stuff. But what do you think about this article in general, dude? Really?
Okay, look, man. All right, we talked about a little bit on GRG, so I got a little bit of information from a different site, and it was basically talking about that it was going to have 8-core Zen CPU, of course, the Navi-based GPU with GDDR6, memory with release date of 20. This one says 2019. VR baked inside of the silicone. Level.
That makes sense as well. The VR baked in, because I believe the next Xbox is going to do the same thing as well, man.
Right, and then it was like dev kits is already sent out, but there was not. But before they were talking about that it was going to include backwards capability, but on this article it said that they weren't going to. That it was still up in the air. So, look, if they're thinking that from that $1,000 site that you're going to get all this with that what I guess would be, it's anything got to do with that Ryzen chip or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, look, man, good luck on trying to pay $700 for that type of hardware. Because I mean, we're already looking at, well, you say $600 to $700 if you wanted to get it this year. There's no way in hell that a PlayStation fan, and don't care how diehard that they would pay $700 for a console that will only be good for about another 3 to 4 years before they bring out a pro version of that console. No way. Well, it's not happening. 2019, I don't even see it happen. I think they'll announce it in 2019, but I see 2020 is where it's at, especially with the success of what the PlayStation is doing right now. Why would they want to go ahead and throw in another console and then you don't have backwards compatibility included? It's still an option.
See,
I don't see it.
I think backwards and forwards compatibility. I'm a little bit sketchier with Sony when it comes to forwards compatibility. But I am leaning towards both the new Xbox and the new PlayStation doing that, having forwards and backwards compatibility. So with that being said, they come out with the PS5. If it's a little pricier than what we're thinking would be the normal, I think they would do that because, at the end of the day, what did our boy Donnie D say? He was like, if you don't want to pay that much money, we have a console for you. And it's called the PS4 Pro. You know what I'm saying?
Then you revert. Then you're going right back to the same time of when your head was big, going into from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3. You're repeating history because $600 is that point to where it is the death of a console. You're not going to sell no console for no. That's higher than people's car payment. There's no way that people are going to pay that much for you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no way.
It's only a one-time car payment, though.
No, it's not because you look how fast that they consoles depreciate over time. You see what I'm saying? Like, look at I can get a vanilla PlayStation for $150, maybe even $125. You know what I'm saying? The Pro still is up there in price, and you know what I'm saying. The X is finna go down this year. Look, man, no, it's not happening. It's not happening for one because it's 2018. That's not
happening at all. I don't care. That is not, dude. They haven't even teased anything. They would spend the entire year. They would go in from maybe February to the beginning of April, kind of like the time that just passed now, and they would have some type of tease out there, some type of marketing, something messing with people, or at least having the rumor out there that it's going to be shown. Right?
Right, yeah.
And they don't have any of that going on, man.
No.
Well, let's talk GDC too. So that just happened not too long ago, right? Mm-hmm. So right before the Pro happened, that's how all that stuff leaked, right? People were talking about it.
Yeah.
Right? And what was the talk of not this GDC, but the GDC before this last one, was people talking about the X, right? No one was talking about any new hardware. The only new hardware people were talking about was what NVIDIA was doing with their RTX technology. So, where are all these developers that have this supposed hardware that's not very specific?
Well, see, unlike certain people on the panel, we're not in the know when it comes to the development community and what they're talking about. So we kind of rely on a certain person to let us know this.
So why isn't anyone talking about it? That's what I'm trying to say. But here's the thing: is people's imaginations run wild with this sort of stuff.
Well, we're getting close, guys. Let's be real here. We are getting, within a couple years. That's close, man.
Right? Yeah. Well,
but it's going to happen. I mean, it's not like we're saying PlayStation 5 is not going to happen, and it's not like we're saying it's not going to be more powerful than anything we have today. It's just the thing is, what timing makes sense, and I just don't think 2019 is going to even. Well, 2019 is the earliest they're possibly going to do it, but that's a stretch. To be honest with you.
I just don't see it, man. I look, 2019 is really stretching. Is really stretching, especially when you're going to have whatever games that they're going to come out next. PlayStation's going to come out next year. Gamers are going to just they're going to treat it just like the 360. That's exactly what they do, because that system's going to be $500. You know what I'm saying? Whenever it comes out, it's going to be around $500. If it's going to be $400, then that means it's going to be later than 2020. So it has to be. It's going to the max for it, where I think they'll feel comfortable for people to buy a PlayStation 5 will be around $500, and then you're going to have those late adopters that's going to wait, just like they did with the Xbox One. They're like, I'm not paying $500 when I'm already enjoying my 360, and they'll do the same thing with the 5. So if they don't do backwards compatibility, that's shooting themselves in the foot. So I think that they will do backwards compatibility with PlayStation 4 games. They won't go any further than that, but if they don't, then it's a fail on them.
So, and here's the other thing that makes those seem bogus. They also said GDDR6. You know how expensive GDDR6?
No, it's only DDR6, by the way. It's GDDR5X or DDR6.
That's what they said. To the DDR. But then again, that stuff is really expensive right now. Really expensive.
5X has been out for a little bit now. So,
But and who knows? It may go down in price in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But now it just isn't. It's like the same thing when I thought maybe HBM would be in the X, right? And then as time went on, I'm like, there's no way the price is going to drop.
We went back and forth with that for a while. We're like, that's not going to happen, man.
but with time, I said, hey, this just doesn't make any sense, because I was being honest, because I didn't know what the price was going to be at the time. I was getting ahead of myself, and as we get closer and closer, I think it was 8 months out, and then I'm just like, no, it can't be that, because it's not going to be able to hit the price. And that's what I'm going to say with the memory that they're claiming there too. I mean, they have to have faster memory, but they also have to have. Here's the thing: is the most expensive probably part of these next consoles is going to be the memory.
Guys, I gotta ask, where did this 20 T-flop thing come from? Did that come from this article as well? I gotta ask, man, because that is what blew me away. I'm like, really?
I gotta ask. I gotta say this though, Pred, you should get a win for this gameplay, not because of Hellblade, but because you fought a big ass spider. That shit was creeping me out as I was watching.
Game, man. That hunt game, yo. That game's the truth, man. I hope that game comes to console. For real.
I do too. That game is really dope. I'm really wanting to get that. I'm trying to hold out, but I might have to cop that. That game looks dope, but I don't want to fight that big ass spider though.
You're gonna
you have to, yeah.
But yo, where
was a night mission too. That was made it even worse.
Dude, well, I've been asking you for a couple weeks, man. You gotta put that that night mission in there. Like that was cool because like there were points in time where it was so dark you almost didn't see what was going on the screen. But then you turned around and that the moon rays were coming through the window and you saw what the hell was going on in there. That was awesome gameplay. Man.
It kind of reminds me of Hellblade because you have to have your earphones. You have to have a headset on so you can hear the directions of where everything's coming from. So like it's a good effect of that game. Like just having like the sound of the game is actually really good.
Nice.
Like you'll hear it behind you, so yeah, you have to turn around because you start hearing shit like glass breaking and stuff behind you. So.
Yeah, game looks creepy as hell, man. I would love to play that. But all right, we got Peter Young in the chat saying that the 20 T-flop thing is made up. Now, Peter, I agree with you. 20 T-flops is made up, but there are some soldiers out there in social media and Twitter that are swearing up and down hardcore that 20 T-flops is actually in the Bible, in the New Testament, man. I don't know. Guys, do you know did that come from this article or did it come from something else, man? I don't even know.
I don't know where that came from. I mean, if they hit this early, let's say we're all wrong and they hit this early date, you're probably looking at 8 T-flops from their machine. Max, like that. I mean, that's nothing to laugh at, right? That's a chunk of that's a lot of mustard on the hot dog, as Zaire would say, right? Yeah. But that's a marginal jump from where we're at right now. So it's it's a big jump from where the pro is, but it's a marginal jump where gaming is right now. So. I don't know. I don't think 2019 is a good move for them if they decide to do it. I haven't seen any real hard. It just you got to keep in mind, like my sources, like I saw the Pro when everyone was denying that the Pro was a real thing. I saw the X just prior to E3.
There's a little ego stroke going on right now.
Well, no. I'm just saying, like I've seen these things like firsthand.
Yo, hold on. Real quick. Yo, huge shout out to the over 70 people watching right now. If you could do me a favor, slap that thumbs up button. Yo, share this out on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, something like that. Let's get a bunch of people in here to talk about these gaming topics, man. But we do have the Don stroking his ego over it. Yeah.
No, but I'm being realistic about everything.
Shit.
Like these are my sources.
Yeah.
I should have sent that to the broadband bullies. I need to send that. I call them the broads. Anyway, go ahead. Big shout out to them.
But at the end of the day, we're gonna hear more and more. We're gonna hear more and more of this stuff. You see Spider-Man right there, man. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hear more and more of this stuff the next 2 years. As far as kind of like a release date, I said 2020 when we first started talking about this so many months ago. I'm sticking with that. I'm still going to say 2020, even though with 2019, 25th anniversary of the PlayStation and everything like that, I'm not going to just absolutely ignore that fact. So there is a slight chance, in my opinion, for 2019, but I'm going to stick to my guns and say the new PS5, the new Xbox will still release in 2020. Anybody else think anything different? Anything before 2020, after 2020? Anybody on the panel?
I think 2020 is the most realistic answer you can think of as far as where you need to get a discernible difference. And I think, honestly, I think a little bit different. I think Xbox doesn't care about releasing in the same year as PlayStation. I think they're actually going to do a year later.
Me too.
If it benefits their hardware-wise. In regards to that. So like I think they're going for tangible differences versus relying on like a digital foundry to kind of show the customer what the differences are, sort of thing. Because if you think about it, like, and they're also, I think these systems are actually going to be incredibly different from one another. I think a lot of people think that they're going to be very similar hardware, like the original Xbox and the PlayStation weren't much different from one another. I don't believe that's going to be the case at all. And the reason why there's a couple factors is Sony has said nothing about supporting Vulkan. So unless they do that, how are they going to do a ray tracing? Because that is either you have to be DirectX 12 or you have to be Vulkan to be able to pull off ray tracing.
Well,
and this is
they don't have to say anything about it right now. Like
no,
according to Rand basically confirmed that there are multiple dev kits out there for this next iteration of the PlayStation, and I'm gonna roll with the side that I'm gonna hear what he says a little bit more. Like he's saying that they are out there, man.
No, I don't think they're out there. And I'll tell you my source afterwards. It guarantees going to trump any source he's got.
All right, I got.
I mean, Rand's in touch, good dude. I'm not saying like he's a liar or anything like that.
Yeah, he usually doesn't like just throw stuff out there like that. And
but I think the information he's got is not correct.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Mega, do you think that there are development kits out there for this next iteration, man?
Hey, man, I got to roll with Don. I mean, I was, before what Don said, what he said, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, because, we know that
somebody said 2025 in the chat.
He said, God damn, 2025.
Damn.
No, but no, I got to, I'm saying? I want to roll with Don, of course, I'm saying? He's my boy, I'm saying? Next podcast, GRG, I got to ride with him, but I would have thought that, because there was games that's already going to be developed, that they were going to have these dev kits already ready to go. Now, all the stuff with like Vulkan and all that, I can't dig all that. Voltron, you say Vulkan, you say T-flop, you say you say a pterodactyl. I have no idea what the hell all that shit is. But all I know is that it just would not make sense financially for PlayStation to bring out anything this early now. It just doesn't work. I mean, it just wouldn't work for them when they're already got the hot ass item out.
My town is going to back me up right here because I got the Silent Hill sirens going on. I am tired of hearing that Sony, why would they do this now when they're on top of the world and all that good stuff? But here's the deal. If they can get out before the competition on the next generation, and if they bring backwards compatibility to the next generation with PlayStation, it doesn't really matter if they're on top now. They're swinging over into the next generation and going in first. That's a good thing for them as well, man.
If it's backwards and forwards compatibility, aren't they kind of late to the party?
Right.
Like, I mean, because if you think about it, like, Xbox marks to the fact that the X marks to the fact that you're going to get more 4K games than obviously in the Pro. There's a difference there, right?
But dude,
it just
Sony,
is what it is.
If Sony's late to the party when it comes to stuff like that, if Xbox has done it first, let's be honest here. When Sony does it, it's like it's brand new and nobody did it before anyway.
No, I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just looking at it realistically, right? In regards to that, here's the problem though. Like,
look at this Doom gameplay, by the way. This is fire right here.
Unless they support Vulkan on this next hardware or have their own variant of it, like, game over for them. They're so far behind. Like, I
think that's a no-brainer though. They gotta support Vulkan.
They got to. Well, but the thing is, like, I know a lot of people were pushing for it behind the scenes, and Sony is not willing to acknowledge the fact that they want to do that. And I don't know why. I don't like. There's some frustrations right now behind the scenes that people don't realize, and one of them is support of Vulkan or a Vulkan-like type API from Sony across all devices. And you're not getting that. And so, yeah, you can port some stuff over, but you have to hold back your games so much now. And there's certain things you just can't do because you can't run all your cores simultaneously like you can on other pieces of hardware on the market.
Yeah, that was a huge leap right there.
And also, let me make this point too. Okay, with the backwards capability, I don't know if Sony would be 100% behind it as well, because they have hit on something with the remasters. When they got with Shadow of the Colossus, you hear that Medieval's coming. You got other games that looks like they're going to be slated to come out here the next year or so. I was hearing the rumor about Persona 3 that's going to be remastered. If that's the direction they're going to go and these gamers keeps buying them, why would they go backwards compatibility? Because they would get more money going that route.
Well, it also not necessarily, because if you think about like the people that are making a higher resolution version of these games, like we're getting on the X, those people are seeing sales too, and they're not necessarily putting all the work of a remaster into it. So, you have to add all the dollars and the cents and see if they're making more money or less money in that situation. And I don't know really which one is more viable. Well, to be honest with you,
Sony, you saw this from PS3 to the PS4 as well. Sony will keep releasing games right up and even through, their next generation console. So like even with the PS4 out, they're still coming out with games on the PS3. I do want to give a huge shout out to Skint Eastwood in the chat. He said Microsoft said that they will never be the less powerful console ever again. And he said, so the suggestion, they will never launch before Sony. Like that's interesting to me. Is that what you guys read in that they will always have that power crown? So they'll never release their console before Sony now?
Yeah, I mean they said that. I mean they did say that, and now I was agreeing with Don on that as well, that they won't that they'll probably wait another year, because you got to look at the difference between the Pro and the X. The X can last a little bit longer than the Pro. The Pro is going to be significant, once this new PlayStation comes out. The X will still have time to grow. There'll be people that'll still look at it as the value, and it'll still be powerful enough to show games at high quality.
But Mega,
to what the Pro can do.
But Mega, they can drop the next iteration of the Xbox because they're doing forwards compatibility. People will still get the use out of the X. They can drop the X down even lower in price and kind of use that more as the entry system Xbox going into the next generation as well.
Well, and to add what Bot was been saying, like the fact is, if consoles are backwards and forwards compatible, like just as an ecosystem, the time frame you can release consoles sooner on a quicker cadence.
Exactly. That's what I think they're going to be doing.
And you can run it at a higher price. Now there are some people who they'll be upset, but there are some people that are just like, well, that's not what I want. I'm willing to pay $500, not $700, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you carry it amongst many generations, which you can, there's no reason why you can't, and I don't know why people think the older systems are going to hold back any newer system these days. It just doesn't make any sense. Like those are people that are not experienced in what it takes to make a game. But
dude, when people talk about that, Don, I go exactly to what you've said on this show time and time again about what developers actually do with developing textures and stuff and then scaling them down to fit the hardware, man.
I mean, people that done any minor Photoshop work have done that to just, change their Twitter handle, right? The picture on their Twitter handle, right? Like that sort of thing happens in the game industry as well. So I mean, yeah, I just don't.
Damn, I can develop games then. Yeah.
Well, part of it, you can do a texture. I can put it on a polygon. It's not that hard for me to do. But that being said, I think this is really just kind of driven by, I think, a lot of people that are give a lot of different opinions about PS5, and now that the narrative has switched, I really feel like a lot of this is just driven from that, and so they don't look stupid, because now they can't have the same opinion, or they do. It switches the narrative against Sony, and that's kind of the wrong attitude to have, to be honest with you. I mean, this is not just like guys that are fans on Twitter. These are people like Michael Pachter and things like that, analysts.
Oh man, I was about to say something.
In places like IGN and stuff like that. I mean, that's the reason why they'll publish something like this, because it basically gives them some sort of validation that they weren't completely wrong on everything they were saying. So, and how they're going about it. So, I think just people are willing to exist. It's going to happen. If it happens next year, 8 T-flops, don't expect anything more than that. Expect somewhere around the same memory, but slightly wider bandwidth, and probably around $500 if they did it then. But make a substantial difference where we can actually notice it. They need to do more. As a developer, I would not be happy with what they would be able to release next year. or this year, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, definitely not. I think everybody across the board, except for people who are just kind of championing one piece of plastic over the other. I think any gamer out there with common sense would be like 2018. No way in hell right now. Like that's what I would get from it. And I'm interested to see this. I would actually like for the next PlayStation to come out sooner than what I predicted. I would say I would love for it to come out in 2019 because that means I would actually skip over the Pro and probably go into the next generation with Sony and PlayStation 5. But I don't know. It's interesting talk, man. And you know, as we go deeper into 2018, we get closer to E3, and you know, it's getting towards the end of this generation. Within the next couple years or so, we're gonna start hearing more and more about this stuff. One more thing before we move on to that. When do you guys think we are going to get a $1,000 article for the next Xbox? Do you think that article is coming out soon, man? Anybody?
No.
No?
I mean, yeah. Spoiler, they're making one. You know? I mean,
they are? You guys heard it here
spoiler,
first.
it's going to be more powerful than what we have now. I mean, come on. You know, like, let's get realistic here.
Well, on that note, let's kind of get this business side of gaming done real quick, because there's also been rumors about future big third-party marketing deals with Xbox. And I want to put a disclaimer out there, guys. These are just rumors, all right? We like to go in, talk about the rumors, speculate on what could be going on, speculate if these rumors really have actually any bearing on us, the gamers. So when it comes down to it, third-party marketing deals, rumors are saying that Xbox has marketing deals with like Cyberpunk that will be coming out in the future. For people who don't know, CD Projekt Red is doing that game. I am excited for that game, and I haven't seen a lick of gameplay yet, but I hear Cyberpunk, and I know I'm going to love that environment, man. If they do what they did with Witcher, and they give it a cyberpunk environment, I'm all in on that, yeah. I am all in on that. So that I think it was not the Battlefield that's releasing this year, but the one afterwards. They're talking about like future titles with this, and I just want to know, first, Predator, do you think there's any validity to these rumors, and do you think like Xbox needs to get third-party marketing deals right now?
As far as the rumors go, I think there is some validity to him. I don't really see like it's very hard for me to see like like the Battlefield, the Splinter Cell, what Cyberpunk was the one that the outlier that I was like, oh, okay, they got that one. All the other ones weren't really a surprise to me. Like I think they had Madden on there, which we have marketing rights for.
Yeah,
I mean, like none of that stuff was surprising to me. It was all stuff we've kind of heard about. Splinter Cell, they had it before. Battlefield, they've had it before. Like nothing was shocking, except for the Cyberpunk one. And there's others that are missed, like the Metro one. I think is going to be on the Xbox's side as well.
Well, they showed Metro Exodus. They did show it on Xbox's stage at E3. You know, with the X. So you can definitely see that, man. Yeah.
So I mean, like, and I'm sure there's more, but as far like we saw like last year, I guess, when Sony had a lot of the marketing deals. And they kind of like, we lost some of them, obviously, from the Xbox side. And so we were kind of like, man, what the fuck? Like we lost FIFA, we lost this game, we lost that game. So
FIFA was huge too, man.
Yeah. And I said this before, and I always thought that Microsoft was tired of doing these marketing deals with these established franchises because they're still going to get people to play those games in their console. Mm-hmm. Like the Call of Duty, they're still going to get those games. People still going to play them on Xbox. So why waste all that money to get the marketing rights for that game and still get the same content? You're still getting the same game. It costs like, I don't know how much it costs, but like, let's say it costs, $2 million, just throwing a round number out there. Why would you spend $2 million on something that 50% of the fan base is going to play in your console anyway, whether you have marketing rights or not?
Last year they got stonewalled a lot, right? I mean, if you look at it, like a lot of products had X support, but they weren't really allowed to kind of go all in and advertise them so heavily. Like, here's what our system can do. Yeah. So they kind of had a soft launch last year because of it.
Yeah, and you're right, and I think that like like the stuff that's going on, like I think Far Cry, the rumor I heard anyway was like the screenshots were blocked from the the Xbox side where you couldn't
for like 2 days or so or something.
Yeah,
like
so
that,
Sony does some ninja magic with their marketing where they allow things to not happen on the Xbox side, whereas Microsoft doesn't do that when they do marketing rights. And I posted a tweet maybe almost like last year, right, when Call of Duty came out. Like, you can no shit go into the store. You know, if you go to Best Buy, you get those little cards. You can actually take it to the restaurant and pre-order it. You can no shit pre-order digital Assassin's Creed on Sony side, but you cannot do that with all the games that Sony had marketing rights for on the Xbox side. Like, if you look on the back, you can get the physical.
I mean, that could be a stipulation within the contract, though, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They do, like, Sony tends to do a lot of these little shady deals, and Microsoft doesn't. And it kind of backfires. And even when the Microsoft has had, you know, deals with some games, the devs come out and they say something fucked up about it. You know,
I know,
like,
right?
You know, and it like backfires in their face, like, you know, with Witcher and all, you know, like it never works out right. And I understand why they would kind of stop dealing with these same companies over and over again and go towards more, you know, or let's say same franchises, and then go over to something brand new like a Metro or a Cyberpunk or a Splinter Cell, because you want the newer games. All those older franchises and games are established already. You're gonna get Call of Duty on Xbox if you had it last year, the year before that.
Well, with Metro, I've been a Metro fan since 2033, which was the first one, and this is going to be the third iteration with Exodus. I do have to say, Metro, that's not a household name. You know,
it's not.
It's a great game that people have missed out on the first two, and I think this generation, with those two being on sale a lot more and people finally getting into it because it was only like what $10 for both games at one point in time, they actually see the quality of those games, which actually came out during the era of the PS3 and the 360. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what you're talking about with content, a huge thing that has been going around is, well, if this is true, Xbox needs exclusive content or timed content at least. Now, I have to say, I was in the boat where I was like pissed off when it came to the whole Destiny thing. So I'm not playing both sides of the coin. I'm not going to get pissed off because, you know, PlayStation had that whole Destiny deal, but then say Xbox should do the same thing over here. If I don't like a practice, I don't like a practice, no matter which side is doing it. But do you think that Microsoft needs like exclusive content with these deals coming down the line?
Not necessarily, but what I wouldn't mind, and I almost hate to say this, I'm gonna contradict myself. I wouldn't mind them getting a game on their console that just does not come to, like how, like, you know, how they're doing Spider-Man. You know, like, can we get that on Splinter Cell? Can we get that on, you know, like, can we get a game like that that's like a triple A blockbuster that just does not go to the other console?
Well,
that's what
Splinter Cell started on the OG Xbox,
exactly.
man.
So did Mass Effect, you know, and games like that. Give us a game from another developer, a major company, a major third-party franchise that they make specifically for Xbox, and that's it. And it just never goes through their console. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, the whole marketing, like, you know, 2 weeks here, like, we have a good deal with EA where we get games early, you know, that kind of thing. I'm cool with that. But I'm not a fan of having, you know, one console excluded from DLC.
Yeah,
or
especially
like, you know,
for like
I gotta wait
a year
6 months or a year,
like
to get DLC. I think that's bullshit. If it's a game that just doesn't come out on the other console, I can deal with that. I just get on the other console. But like don't put me in a fucking corner because I have another console. You know, that's fucked up. Like, just let me have the same shit that's on. I'm not, because honestly, I'm not gonna buy it on the other console because the DLC comes out a month or a year.
No, I'm just going to complain about it while I play it on the console that I usually play on, man.
Yeah. It's just going to deter me from going and buying it on that console just because I don't like the practice.
I got
do you think it may even deter you from buying the game, period? Sometimes they're like, well, screw them. Like, I'm done. Like,
it may delay me from buying it. It may delay me from buying it.
Gotcha. I hear that a lot sometimes, too. Like, you're like, well, if they're going to treat me like that as a customer, then why do I care? Yeah. And they move on because there's plenty of games out there. I mean, that's something I've heard people I played with, and, you know, vice versa. You know, doesn't matter what last gen and also this gen, they're not happy.
I'm curious to see how the game like Call of Duty and Destiny sold on the Xbox versus the PlayStation, like the attach rate per console. just out of shits and giggles to see which one, if it actually the marketing actually worked in Sony's favor. I know it helped them sell consoles, but like as far as like who's actually playing it still and how many people actually got it, paid cash for the digital or physical copy of the game per console.
Oh, I think when you look at Call of Duty, I know you're trying to compare platforms, but I think at the end of the day, Call of Duty, of course, it has a lot of adult players in there, but a huge majority, I mean, we've all dealt with them, those kind of like 10 to 14-year-old kids, the ones who know your mom intimately so many times per match that it's kind of incredible. There's a lot of them out there as well, and so, I mean, there are gamers out there that only play those games too, so.
Yeah.
But Mega, what do you think about these rumors here? We got Cyberpunk, Battlefield, Cyberpunk. I do have to say, I don't know if anybody has noticed on the panel, but CD Projekt Red, like from the start of this generation, right? They weren't too friendly with Microsoft. Have you noticed that over time they've gotten a lot friendlier together? Like they like created almost a business friendship going on. Has anybody else seen that but me?
Yeah. No, because remember they came out and they did kind of say some fucked up things, like Pred said, like they were one of them. And when they was talking about, they were showing Xbox footage on the Conan when he was playing games and stuff, and they said it was on a PC and stuff like that. So yeah, it was. I don't know what was going on at that time. You can see
Matrick.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
So people don't know. So Matrick, people like it the fact that he's like kind of hard-headed, but that guy pissed off so many developers in regards to that. And
dude, if Matrick were a cartoon character, he'd be a weasel.
Well, I'm not going to say like I'm not going to be.
He looks like one, though, man.
But I'm not going to. I mean, that's a low blow, man. And like, I'm not going to be like that. But in general, like, that the attitude he carried ruined relationships with third parties. Yeah. And they would deal with it. And so, just like a lot of people were at a boiling point with how Xbox launched, a lot of developers were kind of a boiling point on what Xbox offered at launch, and how their development kits were, and honestly, how the leadership at Microsoft was treating them so poorly. So that's one of the reasons why you see Phil always try to be like the nice guy and he's trying to repair all those relationships that have been burned bridges.
You can definitely see that, man.
Yeah, because if you look at it historically, you can just see it.
Yeah, no, I mean you can just tell. I mean It's that was the point that I was going to try to make, was that that you could tell that there's a different aura going on with Xbox. And of course there's people that's impatient and think that Xbox can change this shit overnight because they have so much money, but money doesn't count for a person's attitude towards somebody else. If they dislike this company because of somebody else's actions beforehand, that's still going to resonate with that person until somebody comes forth and prove to them that they're not the same way as what they perceive that the whole company to be because of one person. So
or fall back into old habits, right?
Right.
That's the other thing. It's like
that's why Phil said, there's a lot of learning that he had to do, and he has to change it up from what his stance was from when he first got the job to now, where he's looking at it where, well, we're gonna have to go to Japan and go talk to these people and try to mend some relationships so we can start showing some commitment to Japanese titles and so forth, all these other things. But yeah, no, I think there's some games that you guys did not say that will be huge for them if this marketing rights are true.
Put them on us, man.
I am. Borderlands 3, that's going to be huge. No, that's
going to be a big game, but it's not.
That game.
Yeah, I'll wait until my turn. Oh,
okay. Yeah, that game is going to be huge in the sense of that it has people anticipating it, and then there's going to be the people that hasn't played it and kind of hasn't been on their radar in a long time. But once they see that game, they're like, yeah, I remember playing Borderlands 2, and then they're going to jump on it. But the one that is probably to me the biggest is the Division 2. Because if you heard what Ubisoft is doing with this game, It's the biggest game that they've ever worked on. It's over 1,000 devs working on this game. They have 7 studios working on the Division 2. So that's going to be one of those games that a lot of people is anticipating, and especially with them bringing the X enhancements here this coming up week, and all the improvements that they got brought to the game here recently. That's going to be a really good look. I think that's going to be bigger than anything. And then last but not least,
I don't trust the Division right now.
You
well,
better.
I gotta say. Oh, my bad, man. But,
no, it's good. I'm just saying, a lot of people didn't trust this new Assassin's Creed, and then look what everybody's saying. Assassin's Creed is bad.
Not only that, with what they've done with the Division, there was a lot of complaints at the beginning, and even going into the middle of the lifespan of that game. The 180 that this development team has done with that game, I think they really did learn their lesson. I know what Bungie did with Destiny 2, when it came out, people were like, wow, damn, they didn't learn their lesson, like, going into the sequel. I feel like with Division 2, the devs learned their lesson, and they're only going to go forward from there. And Division 2 can be absolutely huge. I'll give you that one, nigga.
I mean, Stentz over here saying nobody cares about the Division in Europe, but man, that was one of the best-selling games, I think, almost in Ubisoft history at one point. I mean, like, that game sold so well, it just everybody no-lifed it. I no-lifed that game, and then you're waiting for where's the content. Look at what they did with Far Cry 5. Everybody's loving what they're doing with Far Cry 5. You think that they're going to make that same mistake with Division 2? No, they're not. And also, Anthem. Nobody did bring up Anthem. That's going to be on there. Too, and you know what Pred was saying, I totally agree. You would hope that one of these games could be an exclusive to the Xbox. And man, if those rumors about, when they were talking about EA and all that stuff, if Anthem could be that game that could be exclusive to Xbox, that would be huge, because that would be, to me, like their new Titanfall, because they missed out on Titanfall. This could be that game that people will gravitate to, and it'd be a new IP that's big time for coming from EA.
You know what I like about all this is, at the end of the day, you're talking about, Anthem, you're talking about Division 2, Cyberpunk, the future Battlefield or whatnot. Like I said before, that exclusive content thing isn't for me, but I do feel we need to see a lot more commercials out there where at the end of the commercial, it shows somebody else other than PlayStation, man. Like, we need a bunch of games to go in a different direction than what's been going on this year. Just to show people out there, because people go under false pretenses. Oh, this game, it's only for PlayStation, right? No, it's for Xbox too. Oh no, this game's only for PlayStation. No, it's for Xbox as well. Like, we're literally telling people that these games are multi-plat because they just see so many commercials that at the end it shows that PS4. And, I think that's the biggest thing out of these marketing deals above all is to kind of balance out that advertising to show that, there's other consoles out there, and that these kind of like casual gamers have more of a choice than what they feel they have, man.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I really hope that they could pull our rabbit out of the hat with one of these games. I mean, I think in all reality, if there would be one, it'd be Splinter Cell that would be the exclusive. But you would hope that it could be Anthem or something like that. But I mean, even if they could snatch up Borderlands, which I know this is all speculation, but
that is definitely speculation.
Yeah, but I mean, if they could, man, that would be huge. And then, of course, I would like them to be pushing out commercials like they did with Madden, because Madden had some fun commercials.
Oh, hell yeah!
So I mean, you got to show love to these games, and of course, I'm going to no life Cyberpunk, because I got so much respect for CD Projekt Red after playing the Witcher series. The Witcher 2 and 3. I tried to play 1, but that keyboard and mouse, man, that ain't the life for me, man. But the intro was really dope. I just got an intro. I just watched the intro and then I tried to play it and I said, wait, no controller compatibility? What the? Oh man. Okay. Well, I still got it. So
well, But yeah, at the end of the day, I think there's some validity to this. I want to see how many. This is the deal. I want to see how many marketing rights there are out there, and if there are games that will be shown out there on TV and stuff like that. Because like I said, I feel like the casual gamer out there, they have been bombarded commercial after commercial. At the end, it's always PS4, and I feel like they don't realize like how many games are multi-plat out there and just dealing with marketing deals. But before we get into that more serious topic that I'm getting excited about, I do want to talk about kind of like a game that's been resurrected, and it's coming out, I believe, this summer, this year. It's a game that there's people out there who have been waiting years for it. It's a game called Below. PAX East is going on right now, and Below is actually at that gaming convention. A lot of people have played it. There's a lot of people out there saying that this game is actually stealing the show at PAX East.
You skipped Don. You skipped Don on that last question.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Because I interrupted King Megan. I'm like, nah, I'm going to let King Megan talk. I'll wait till my turn. And then you're just like, you just moved on.
You don't get a turn. All right. Well,
no turn for you, right?
Well, Don, then share your opinion on what we were talking about, and then let us know what you think about Below. If you've seen kind of like they put 25 minutes of gameplay out there, people are saying that this game's stealing the show at PAX East. I feel like I've waited too long for this game, so take it away, Don.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the marketing deal. So, I think what happens with Microsoft is if they go one direction, if they leave any holes open in their defense, people are going to rag them on them. So if you don't have good marketing deals, I'm sorry, people are going to rag you on that. If you don't have a mature title exclusive this year, they're going to rag you on that. They're going to find chinks in that armor. There's a certain segment.
I think that's for our next topic too. By
yeah,
the way, so.
Yeah. We'll segue to that as well. But so what Microsoft's really got to do when they're signing these deals, right? It's not even about exclusive content. It's not even about any of that sort of stuff. It's about picking games that show off their platform the best. It's simple as that. That fills up their portfolio to show they have these different types of content that's not part of their exclusive lineup, right? Because they're going to have certain titles they're going to fill in certain areas. So they need to kind of fill in the other areas where those don't cover. And they need to pick games that show off their hardware the best. They have the best hardware. They have been rifled this whole entire 6 months to be able to really advertise and put their weight behind it. And I hate it. I hate the fact that you have to have these deals, but you have to have these deals in place to be able to market your hardware. And they've been hindered this whole entire time because of it.
Okay. So you think since the X came out this past 6 months, there's been people from Xbox just kind of clamoring to pick the right games that are coming out in the future and to strike deals with them now. So this way, these games, they'll show off their hardware and then kind of get that name back out there into the
exactly. I think that's essential. They have to have it. You can't just market your exclusives, right? They have to be able to. They have to be able to show that they have that third-party support and they are the best place to play. So it raises that question for the end user, right? Okay, now that I pick up, say, Call of Duty has a deal with, say, PlayStation. But it raises the question for that consumer when they pick up that box, is it on Xbox as well? And it's those sort of things. They just have to go at it. They have to have the exclusives, and they have to have these third-party deals. I hate third-party deals. I really despise them because I know. I don't
mind marketing deals, though, when it comes to the commercials and stuff like that.
I get it. I get why they need to be done. They're a necessary thing, but I just know that money can go to other things that I personally would prefer on the platform, but it doesn't necessarily mean it holds the same weight for them as a platform as far as a marketing perspective. So, I'm willing to say that, hey, what I want is not necessarily the best thing for the company, right? Uh-huh. But they kind of have to do that. They have to have third-party deals in place, and they have to have things that just show off their hardware the best. That makes them think whoa. That's what games look like on this platform.
All right,
and that's essential.
Well, Don. Then with that, we're gonna talk this one last part about this topic, and then you can let us know what you think about below. But with all that being said, and you saying that these marketing deals they're basically needed in the gaming industry today and whatnot. What do you think about exclusive content? Because like I said, I said I had no problem with marketing deals. It's good to get more games out there with commercials that have, a different name for a piece of plastic at the end of the commercial or whatnot. But how do you feel about exclusive content? Do you feel like Microsoft, they need to sign deals that have exclusive content for Xbox?
No, I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think that's something that's terribly helpful, to be honest with you. In regards to that, it just doesn't make any sense to me, because I think some people they care about the exclusive content to a point, and they care more about their platform where they invest their time and their money. I don't think that sways people to buy one platform or another. These days, it sways
people to bitch, though. That's pretty much it.
It does cause that turmoil that's out there. I mean, it's something, if I don't have a publisher, that I'm not going to ever do. That's how strongly I feel about it.
Yo, guys, my bad, Don. But I was gonna say, I love how you change things around. I was like, it sways people a bitch. He's like, yeah, it does cause that turmoil. Like you are so for like, talking out there. I'm like, I'm just really blunt with it, and you find the nice way to say it, man.
But it's true. I mean,
it's true.
It does. It creates like this anxiety, and then people want to fight. I'm gonna let them fight, but I don't really care about that.
The cold heart weapon when it came to Destiny 2, that was a huge thing as well, man.
Exactly. Honestly, all that did, to be truthful, because I was a big Destiny 1 fan. All it did is just kind of get me irritated at Sony, right? Like as somebody that plays games, they're just like, well, I'll just wait and invest in your product later, because I just don't like what you're doing there. I think it's more important how Xbox says things more than it is. It's what you say, it's not how you say it, right? Sort of thing, like type thing they got to do. They have to say it right to get people excited about that platform, and they're gonna do it. I'm hoping they're gonna do it. I mean, they have the experience. So they just have to be able to know when to get aggressive, and now's the time, right? Right at E3, this is their moment to shine. If they don't do it, I think they lose that opportunity to kind of sway that mind share, and they're always going to be doing an uphill battle. I mean, it's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. Now, on that note, man, you guys have been killing me, because there has been so many segues to go into kind of like the last topic, but I don't want this game below to get kind of like drowned out, because there's definitely been a resurgence, with PAX East, and a lot of people are talking about this game. For people who don't know, this game, it really looks like that old school Zelda game, but it's based all within a labyrinth. Like at the beginning of this game, you go into an underground labyrinth that's just absolutely massive, and that's where the game is. You're trying to get to a certain place, a certain part of that labyrinth. The developers, I believe correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it's Cappy Games? Or Capybara or something like that?
Something, yeah.
Yeah. But they've been working on this game for a long time. I believe this game was shown with, like, the launch of the original Xbox One, and a lot of people thought it was going to come out within, like, the first year or two of the Xbox One lifespan. Now, for me, this game does look interesting, but I am very hesitant on throwing any money in on it, just because it's been so long. I feel like time has passed, but I don't know, man. Gamers are digging it right now at that convention. Don, what do you think? Do you know anything about this game below, man?
It's never been on my radar. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I don't really see the appeal. I think it's maybe just one of those indie games that I'm just going to pass by. I mean, there's a lot of them that I pass by on.
I thought time passed this game by, because I thought the art style and everything, like back in like 2013, 14, and possibly 15, a lot of people were getting into that more simplified kind of like looking game, and to me that's what Below looks like. And I felt before like they showed it at this convention, like time had passed this game by, and we're past that simple looking type game. But from what I'm hearing, apparently not. People are really loving it, man.
Yeah, it's always had a strong following. People always have said a lot about this game and have high hopes. So I mean, I hope it meets people's expectations. I'm just not excited for it, and you can't be excited for every game, guys. And it doesn't make it a bad game because I'm not excited. I hope it finds its audience and it does well. And they worked extra hard on it, and they're polishing it, so that can't be a bad thing. From a gamer's perspective, if a developer's taking more time to make sure the stuff's polished, that's always a good thing for you guys. So. Kudos to them. I hope it does well.
It's been 5 years, basically, though, man. Like for
the weird thing is, you touch upon is like there is a point where you advertise things too far out. It does come back to bite you.
That game is the poster child of that, man.
But if I say we always have this I think debate back and forth. They're like, well, do you
Why the hell are you shooting cannons now? There's nothing over there.
Don't worry about it. But I mean,
there's something there.
Yeah, but we had a debate you want Xbox to show more in the future in the past, and I say no, I don't want that. And this is kind of the poster child why I don't want people to show things too far out, is because people have short attention spans. We consume much more information at a shorter period of time than we're used to when we're younger. And so, therefore, our attention spans are much shorter. So, showing things too far out is just kind of an issue.
Yeah, speak for yourself, man. My attention span is great, okay?
No, it's not.
What, Mega?
I've played Halo with you, man. We all know how many times he walks away from the game.
Well, yeah. Hey, Mega. I was really interested to talk to you about this game because I know you like to play a wide range of games. So I don't know if you saw. Did you see the footage of Below at PAX East? Have you heard? People are really kind of they're running with this, and it's coming out this summer, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I read something about it. I have not seen anything about Below. I thought it wasn't never going to come out.
Me neither.
And to me, it's with indies, it's hit or miss. To me, more impressive was hearing people talk about Ashen and say how that game is really going to shock a lot of people about how good that game is.
Yeah, let's just let Jazzy, he's a sponsor of the channel of the show. That's the game that when you die, the AI learns, learns what you're doing and stuff like that, and the game will get incrementally harder, throughout the story, which is really cool. I'm hyped for Ashen, but Mega with Below, you've seen gameplay before, because I mean,
right?
All right. Does it feel like that original Zelda to you? That look of it?
Yeah, it does. And like I said, I haven't seen anything of it here recently. I just was reading about an article. yeah, okay, it still looks the same, but yeah, I know. I mean, because the way people are talking about it, it's a whole new experience. It's better than what they imagined the game to be when they first played it, and all this. So I don't know, but it's like I said, it wasn't on my radar, but it's like one of them things where we were just talking about earlier that that Xbox really can't win either way. They wanted to keep, they advertised the game so many years back, trying to get people hyped for it. Then now you got people saying, "Oh, I'm not interested in it. It's been too long."
That's me.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying, just all in general. And now when they're trying to push the game, it's like whatever. But then yet on the flip side, they say, well, we need to know what's coming. If it takes 3 or 4 years down the line, just let us know if something's coming.
Pick one.
Pick one.
Hold on. There is a middle ground to that, though. I mean, let's be real. When it comes to first party games like Fable and stuff like that, I can almost guarantee you a bunch of people in the chat and maybe everybody here on the panel, we are expecting to see at least a teaser of the new Fable, right? Mm-hmm. So that's showing something that is most likely 2 years out. All right, that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to first party and stuff like that, the stuff that they know they're going to be putting out and stuff. You can show the gamer that there is a future out there beyond what's coming out just within this year. And they have to balance that.
I get that. But I'm just saying, I mean, you can't go back in time. I mean, they talked about the game. The game got delayed. It had issues, whatever. And so then that's when I think the Xbox staff was like, look, we can't keep doing this. I mean, because if these games don't come out, there are going to be people that bitch and complain about it. I mean, look, you can look on the PlayStation side. Look, you haven't heard anything about Deep Down. You haven't heard anything about Wild anymore.
Deep Down is nowhere. Deep Down is deep dead.
And you don't hear anything about Wild. I mean, that was a game that was one of me.
True. Holy
that was a game that I really was like, man, I might have to copy PlayStation 4 for that. That looks dope. But you don't hear anything about it. But again, it's one. You get one side, and it's okay for however they do things, because when the narrative change, the goalposts change for them, it's like, well, they just let their developers take their time and to make sure that the game is right. But Xbox fans on the other side is saying, well, we need to know something now. I'm tired of waiting after 1 year of having a bad year. I like, so below. Back because I'm going left. I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, you're giving me another segue. We could have went back.
But below, I can't be encouraged about it because I wasn't encouraged about it when I first seen it. So
I can almost guarantee.
I just hope the game comes out.
You're gonna buy it.
You know what? I probably will. Once the game comes out and I can see what the hell is coming, I don't want to hear about it. I want to see the game in the game store where I can buy.
If there's anybody on this panel who is gonna get below, I say K Mega is number one. The Angry Otter. Dark Goblin would probably be number 2 on that, but
then you'll complain about it.
But I'm definitely interested to hear what Pred thinks, because Pred, it seems like he might have a more kind of like sophisticated taste when it comes to games. There's a certain categories of games like he really sinks his teeth into and stuff. So Pred, what do you think about Below? Are you interested in this game, and have you seen the hype that is starting to like build at PAX East?
No.
No.
I mean, I actually forgot about this game. I thought it just fell into dev hell and was never coming out of that pit. So when they announced they were still working, I was like, oh, really? And so I'm looking at the gameplay footage now, because even when you say they had 25 minutes of gameplay footage, it probably came out like a day or so ago, and I still had not even heard about it until you just mentioned it today. Other than talking about the game coming out still, I didn't even know there was footage out for the game. So I'm looking at it now. It looks exactly like it looked in 2013.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like it's changed much. It does look like a Zelda, top down. It's got a lot of, from what I'm seeing so far, you have like,
they got fishing though.
Crafting and stuff like that in there. Mechanics like that. We got to eat and stuff like that. So I mean, like, it looks like an interesting title, but it's not something that I want to pick up. Just based off what I see so far, it looks like a Game Pass game for me. So, not interested. Like going, I'm about to go left real quick. But I was more excited about Ashen. So,
Pred, you brought up something interesting, because I don't believe this game is slated to come out at least anytime soon to any other platform. So, if this is an exclusive to Xbox, that means day and date it'll be put into Game Pass, man. If that's the case, I'll actually play it like day one.
Yeah, I thought this was an exclusive, unless something's changed over the past 5 years that it's been in development. Same with Ashen. They already mentioned it's only coming out on Xbox and Windows 10.
So it may have exclusive, but it may not have a publisher. So it may not be part of Game Pass, guys. So don't get your hopes set up too high until you find out that Microsoft published it.
Don, you know me. I stay completely grounded. I never go out of my realm and make like crazy claims and this.
Man, I've dealt with too much disappointment this generation. like I'm tired of being the gaming mom to everybody. Like, just slow down. Just wifey.
Look both ways before you cross that street, man.
Exactly. Like, there are things to check before you make assumptions, for sure.
All right. Well,
what's crazy is it's a top-down game, but like the characters seem so far away from the
so
fucking
small,
screen.
man. That's the one thing that bugs me out. If they just bring the camera in a little bit more, I actually might be interested in that. But I'm like, damn, I don't want to sit there with like my freaking my monocle and be like, all right, there I am right there, and this is what's going on. Like
it looks like a Switch game, to be honest with you. It looks like a game that would be perfect for Switch.
It like raises the question, what are you guys hiding, right? Like if you're that far away.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it was cool. I saw in the gameplay they like the character picked up a mask, and when he equipped it, it actually went on to the character. So and it was in an artistic way. It was fairly detailed or whatnot. So that was cool. How like the things you pick up and you wear and stuff, you can see it on your character. I mean, that's something we kind of expect from games this generation moving forward. But guys, with that being said, I want to hit the main topic right now. And this is a topic that's really close to me, guys. Because throughout, I guess you could say 2017 into this year and moving forward. Now, 2017 was a very light year when it comes to exclusive games on Xbox. Of course, we got Forza. Of course, we got Halo Wars 2. We got all the multiplats, but it was a light year. It just seemed that snowball at the top of the mountain started creating an avalanche. And I feel like I'm one of the few rocks on the side of the mountain that's not flowing with the avalanche. I feel that there is a lot of positive things going on with Xbox. With the Xbox One X, the ability for it to have mixed reality, the games that are coming down the line. I mean, I'm having fun with Sea of Thieves. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to State of Decay 2, Crackdown, new Forza. Of course, we were talking about Ashen, and there's just a lot of games I'm looking forward to playing on the Xbox. But there seems to be this avalanche is talking about doom and gloom. They're talking about more realistic looking games and stuff like that. And I'm going to start with Predator. Predator, where did all this negativity come from? And is it something like that I should be feeling as well? Because I don't see it, man. I see positivity. I see things that can be worked on. But to me, the future is looking bright, in console gaming and with Xbox, man. What do you think? What is going on here, dude?
I think it's just a lot of, not knowing. And, when you don't know what the fuck's going on, you're kept in the dark. You kind of like start, you lash out a little bit, and it's like, we know what's coming, basically Crackdown and State of Decay. And outside of that, I mean, we're kind of like left in the dark when it comes to third party exclusives. And like, you see PlayStation dropping, Spider-Man, God of War, and those games look amazing, and then we get, Sea of Thieves, it's like, and not saying Sea of Thieves is a bad game, it has its issues, we'll get into that another time, but, it's just, we have these cartoony games on this most powerful console ever, and we just want, like, I think a lot of gamers want something to push the power of the console, and it seems like we don't have those games, and where you're seeing, like I said, you're seeing hits coming, on the PlayStation side, and we're like, where the fuck is Crackdown? They're giving us Below, they're giving us Ashen, they're giving us this AA games, but they're not giving us anything.
Crackdown is slated to come out this year, but people are even saying with Crackdown, like now there's like a buildup of Xbox gamers that I feel that like this whole kind of like realistic thing is just another ploy to nitpick.
It's just another goalpost. It is. This is another goalpost because
but there's gamers out there that are feeding into it though, man. And
they're hyped over Spyro, but they wouldn't play Super Lucky Still. Like stuff like that. They'll like it's just the community right now. I think because it's E3, it's coming up pretty soon, and we don't know what the fuck we got coming, and we're just hearing all this other shit coming out on the Xbox, on the PlayStation side, and we're just like, some people are just tired of the bullshit.
Well, hey, Pred, I mean, we talked a little bit about this earlier, but don't you think we had a little bit of the sky was falling just before E3 last year?
Yeah, we have it every year. Every time Sony announces a game and shows some gameplay or something, and you hear the 70 million console owners jump on you on Twitter, you feel overwhelmed with the shit. We can't. When the thing is, we have nothing else to back it up with. We can't see Spider-Man and Sea of Thieves. I'm sorry, Spider-Man and God of War, and then try and argue with them about Sea of Thieves and add that to the conversation. Like we don't have a game that's going to be like, oh well, You know, when they come at us, like you got to come back with them or something. If we're coming back then with Sea of Thieves, we're like idiots. You know, so like we don't have that game. We don't have those games that are coming out right now.
We have had we have had like realistic looking games. I think Gears 4 is one of the best looking games this generation, hands down.
We had Gears, Quantum Break looked really good.
Yeah,
even Rise looked good. But you know, again, the narratives changed, the goalposts changed, and right now it's about when it was power before, once the power went away, now we have the most powerful console. We need games on it.
Yeah,
I think that's what everybody's
Xbox gamers, and this is what I look and I cringe because like there are gamers out there that are falling for this and they don't realize that they're fueling that propaganda and they might not even necessarily think this. Huge shout out to Vertigo Tempest in the chat. He said, do we think that the super support of the indie developers for such a long time when it comes to Xbox is to hire them into new studios based on which ones prove basically that they're to be good devs? And
I can answer that question.
Go ahead.
And I actually have answered this before in the past. I honestly think Microsoft is going after these AA games, not just as filler, but because they're trying to establish, you know, newer franchises for the console, like the Cupheads, like why spend all this money on a AAA to come to your game for a year when you can buy a cheaper AA game that's going to sell well on your platform and draw people into it? It just makes more sense financially to do that. Like, because like we need our Mario, we need our God of War, we have our Halos and Call of Duty, Halos and you know Gears and stuff like that, but we don't have anything new this generation to be like, you know, I remember playing this game on this console and going through its lifespan.
We have racers, we have first person, we have third person. We missed out on our fantasy so far this year with Fable. This generation with Fable.
This way. Okay, so when you look at every console that you can think of in existence, each console had one game on it you always remember. Like the Super Nintendo had Mario 3. The Xbox One, original Xbox, had Halo, right? The 360 had Gears. You know, I can't go through PlayStation because I didn't go through that the first couple of years of PlayStation. But like we don't have that yet this year. We don't have that.
I don't think any platform's got that, to be honest.
I think maybe PlayStation might have Horizon. Might be that game for them.
Yeah, I was giving you Horizon
right there.
Yeah, Horizon's a new IP that was moderately successful. So yeah, I mean that counts. But that's what it was 4 years in, 3 years in.
Yeah,
like this is a very weird generation in the sense we haven't had that banger at new launch.
Chat, Days Gone is actually coming out at the earliest next year. They already came out and said that, man. So, you know, we're talking about, you know, this year and then moving forward. So Days Gone is not coming out this year. Yeah, but go ahead, guys. My bad. I just want to throw that out there because people.
No, you're fine. I just
people put that in their list all the time, and I'm like, they came out and said, you know, at the earliest 2019 for that game. Yeah.
No, they're making the game bigger than what it was originally planned to be. So it's being pushed back, but it's being pushed back for a good reason, to be honest with you. So,
dude, I don't have a problem with that, man. I'm just saying for people out there. See, here's the thing, like, and I was talking to my sister Luca yesterday on Crossfire, and she started talking about Xbox and Microsoft getting their teeth kicked in, and my whole thing was, in what I've been seeing, Microsoft and Xbox, they're not even competing with Sony. They don't look at Sony as competition. They went in and they're focusing internally, like we've said, you know, Phil Spencer, you know, kind of healing the wounds of the third party, you know, with the relationships with the third party developers. I feel that Donnie D tried to cut corners with what they call second party exclusives instead of like developing more first party studios. And I think Phil Spencer is trying to kind of like remedy that as well. You know, on the business side of things, there's a lot of things that they are trying to fix over there from when the Xbox One launched. And I don't feel like they feel like they're competing with Sony. I feel like they feel like they're profitable and they're going in a direction that they want to go. You know, so people are they're spouting all this console war bullshit, And it's like you're the one actually fueling that, and you're the one caring about that when these corporations don't give two shits as long as they're making money. You know what I'm saying?
I would say Sony does care, because they know that's making them money.
Well, yeah, they got the guerrilla tactic marketing that they started with this
yeah,
generation.
So they're very aggressive with that, and they continue to be very aggressive against Microsoft in regards to that. So, I think they have a different mindset than Microsoft, and I think you're 100% right. But I think Microsoft's mindset is it's based on rebuilding the brand, right? It's about they had new IPs this generation. Matter of fact, they had some of the majority of the newer IPs out of both platforms, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. Regardless if you like them or not, I mean that's a whole nother topic, right? But they put a lot of effort in. They want to brand those things with Xbox. They're doing other things that other platforms are just simply are not doing. So they're taking their own lead. They are paying attention to what Sony's doing, but not in the sense of, hey, we got to do what they got to do, otherwise we're missing out. They're just doing things that you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's not bad. I'll do that. But it's not built on the same competition that everyone's thinking they are. They're not playing the same game as Sony. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. Is Sony's playing a totally different game than Microsoft. Microsoft's just trying to find their audience and do well in that space.
And build from there. They have a good foundation when it comes to gamers that are on the platform, and they're just trying to build it out from there. They
also have a safety net too. People don't realize that. The whole cross play of PC, people like it or dislike it. That's up to them. But here's the harsh reality: is people bounce between PC and console all the time. They simply do. And so they want to make sure they continue to reach this audience regardless of what platform they reach out to. So even these sort of things are a big contributing factor to what Microsoft's mindset is. They're just like, they just want you to buy their stuff, their software, and make profit off their games. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, Xbox and Microsoft, they were kind of forced to really go in this direction anyway. If you think about anytime they came out with stuff, I felt like they had a lot of like innovative titles. If you look at Quantum Break and what they were doing with kind of like the series, the television series that was linked in with the game, what the gameplay was, how the story unfolded, everything like that, I thought it was a great game. And what was the biggest complaint when it came out? It was resolution, and that whole resolution debate killed it for a lot of people. And anytime Xbox has come out with these things that were really good, there was some type of nitpicking going on. So why not focus more internally and stop listening to all that, as long as your division is actually, making a profit and your shareholders are happy? You can develop your platform, your games, and let everything grow on a more internal level than all that. I don't know. I see that, man.
Well, and I think I talked about this on GRG. Like, I'm a type of person, like, it's important how I act and not how I react. That's kind of how I try to go about life. Uh-huh. I don't think everyone subscribes to Don's way of doing things, right? But, that's what I keep seeing. I keep seeing reactions, not necessarily, people acting or thinking logically. And what you got people controlling other people's narratives. That's what's going on. People are literally controlling your narrative. There are people that have been excited about products before, and then they play it, and then someone else talks trash about it, and then therefore therefore that game is not good anymore, right? And so you get a lot of that sort of thing, and it's not healthy. I mean, it's just simply not. I mean, why are you letting other people control your thought process? Now, if you're not unhappy with the games they're offering, cool, then speak out about it.
Yeah.
But don't. Here's what I also see. I see other people picking on other Xbox people that are enjoying games on that platform and expressing how they enjoy those games. They're being attacked by other Xbox guys, which is not cool either.
Oh, that's you're not supposed to enjoy Sea of Thieves. Like, the whole big thing
exactly,
about
that, and you're part of the problem if you like a particular game that they don't like. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
That's exactly what I'm saying. How are we part of the problem? Like, how is somebody part of the problem if they're actually enjoying a game? Do you think that they're faking enjoyment just because like this game is an exclusive on a certain platform. I mean,
well, it's also this kind of this bully mentality where like people are trying to justify their own thought process, right?
that's
So if you don't think the way I do, I'm going to force you to think the way I do because I'm insecure in how I'm thinking.
You preach, Don. You preach.
I mean, but that's what happens, right? Like, why are people doing this? Like, you can, like, for example, and I'll use Dealer and Crap because I saw them bickering back and forth about Sea of Thieves a little bit. And I think they worked everything out, so it's totally fine. But, like, Dealer kind of went back and forth on Sea of Thieves. He thought it wasn't anything good. He tried it out. He ended up liking it for a bit, and then he got over it real quick. And he thinks it's, he had some gripes. And you know what? He articulated his opinion good. He did a review on it, and I thought his review was a fair review because he didn't see anything that was untruthful. He was speaking what he likes as a gamer, and that's totally okay with you. I even suggested that people go out that review. I find a totally different experience out of the game than he does, and that's totally okay too. And so did Crab. And the thing is, but Crab doesn't think the game is a bad game, and it's not his fault if he likes the game. He likes the game, and there's elements of the game he doesn't like, and he's expressing those. And those are okay too, right? Like, let people express themselves. Let people have their views, have their opinions, and let's try to have like a conversation about it instead of forcing people to believe what you believe. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Thank you. Yo, Mega, what do you think about this? This kind of like flood of negativity. Even Don said about like Xbox gamers actually going in and trying to force their opinion about a game to another Xbox gamer. Like, you can't like this game because of this and that, and literally saying that they are the problem, man. What's going on with this whole negativity thing, man? Are you there, Mega? Hold on, let me check the hangout.
I heard something squeaking. I think it was
Mega. You're muted, I think. Yeah, he's muted. All right.
Maybe he stepped off.
Oh, it's all good. Well, Predator.
Am I here?
Yeah, there he is. Dude,
Yeah.
did you fall asleep? Don was actually interesting, man. I don't think he made you fall asleep.
It was actually interesting to think
No,
about.
no. Don, I heard listening to everything. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Some stuff happens. But anyway, yeah, there was some weird stuff happening on GRG as people saying I sound like a demon or something or whatever. I don't know what's going on. But anyway.
True colors, man. True colors.
Yeah, well, listen, with this topic here, man, look, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not a bitch, and I'm damn sure not nobody's servants. Nobody can tell me how to like something. You can kiss my ass. If I like it, I fucking like it. Get off my fucking back. And you know what I'm saying? Get off my back. Yeah, get off my motherfucking fat yellow ass. I don't care. Get off my back. If I like Sea of Thieves, it shouldn't matter to you if I like it or not. Don't come here my party and talking about, well, it's trash, Mega. No, the fuck I don't. You know what I'm saying? Get off, leave me alone. If I like the game, I like it. If I don't like the game, I'm not going out here hunting you down, trying to tell you about my experience, about how I feel that you shouldn't like that game. That is the most bitch-made shit I've ever seen grown men do. That's real talk. I am not worried about what the next man feels about or a woman feels about a particular game. If I don't like it, I'm staying away from it. Real talk.
Yeah. No.
When you know what I'm saying? Look, that's why I don't do reviews on my channel, because it might get people upset for some games that I might not particularly like or games that I do like. And if you don't like what I like, okay, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, No Man's Sky. I've never attacked anybody for liking No Man's Sky. I just
never said anything to me, man. I told you I like that game.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But I said the game was trash just for the mere fact of what it for the lies that they told, right? So then when I say something about how enjoyable Sea of Thieves for me, oh, you're an ex-slave. Oh, you just you receiving a check. You can't be realistic. Where
do we get these checks?
I don't know. But the fact of it is like, look, man, I'm a grown ass man. I know what I like. You guys know me. I don't back down from shit. I've gone after Bot, Don, Pred sometimes. Hell, when me and when my boy Newark would be on here, I would go after him. I'd go after anything. That's why Z calls me the most defiant. When I'm dug in, Jack. So it's the thing of it is like leave people alone about what they enjoy. If you don't like it, that's fine. Talk amongst the peers that don't like that game, but don't come attacking people for whatever reasons because you think that Xbox is not doing enough. Then just jump your punk ass over there to PlayStation or Nintendo or the PC. Nobody ain't worried about what you doing over this way because I am enjoying my gaming experience.
Yeah.
This, if you really want to be completely honest about this has been the most disappointing generation of them all so far because they both haven't really produced like what we all were anticipating. This has kind of like been a hybrid year for this generation because there's been a lot of reboots, a lot of remasters. You know, there's been some good quality things going on, but damn, let's just be real. Don Matrick almost destroyed the Xbox brand.
I'll give you that, man. Hell yeah.
So they had to readjust while PlayStation is hungry as hell because of what happened last gen. Look, they may have sold more consoles because there are more markets, but the darling of last gen was the 360 and the Wii. That is a fact. You know what I'm saying? So they have to be hungry. PlayStation came direct. Microsoft made a lot of bad decisions, and here we go. But it doesn't change my thought process about the Xbox being my main console. And if anybody likes to play, if they were an Xbox fan and they jumped over to PlayStation and enjoy those experiences, like my boy AJ, great. I'm not mad at you for it. I'll see you over there sometimes. I was playing on the PlayStation today, and I see my boy AJ out there playing this thing. I seen all day playing his games. I'm not bothering him because it's really lonely there, but the fact of it is that you enjoy what you want. Don't let no grown motherfucker tell you what you should like and what you don't. If you don't, you're the problem, not us.
Dude, yeah, Mega, with that being said, like, there's been this whole thing, you know, we had these games that were coming out this year that, you know, we were talking about last year. Aaron Greenberg and all of them were talking about, you know, Sea of Thieves. We're talking about Crackdown, talking about State of Decay and stuff. And of course, you can see they are more colorful. They're not in that quote unquote realistic sense. And I feel like this whole we need more realistic games was spun up by haters anyway. What do you think about, like, you know, Xbox gamers falling into that and helping drive that narrative, even though we've already had, you know, Quantum Break, Gears, Halo. We've had a bunch of real games.
You can't bring up Halo. You can't bring up Quantum Break. You can't bring up those games, right?
Yeah.
See, that's the other problem. There's a huge cherry picking that goes on, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People are trying to rationalize their thought process, and they're not trying to look at it equally. You know, shout out to, I think when I was on GRG last Thursday, somebody said, well, you know, I was comparing games, what we have like the first quarter or the first half of the year, and somebody goes, well, you forgot MLB The Show. What was the other one? Shadow of the Colossus. And you know what? He's right. I forgot about those games.
Yeah.
So, you know, those count.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say just because they're not games I'm not interested doesn't mean they're not quality games. It doesn't mean people are not interested in those sort of things. So you got to compare equally across the board. You can't just cherry pick what you want.
Look, the narrative has been changed so many times, and they've been trying to make every one of them stick. The main two things that's been sticking right now was the resolution gate, and now here is defecto gate. Like, you know, look, I'm not understanding why Xbox is doing this. Look, your YouTubers is going over and joining PlayStation. Man, kill yourself. I don't give a fuck who's jumped over on what wagon. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? If Z's doing this, if Iron Wolf is doing that, those are grown-ass men. I have no hate, no ill will for anybody for their personal decisions of what they want to make, what they want to do. Why you got to hate on me being firm about me enjoying my Xbox experience? Exactly. I don't get it. I do not get it. I understand the conversation. Hold on, Don. I'm about to preach.
I was going to give you more fuel.
Okay, go ahead.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm ready.
But like, if you look at like for example, Nintendo went through this whole thing, right?
Yes.
At one time, we've all been there, right? We've all seen Nintendo go through. But the difference is Nintendo stopped supporting third party, and started putting their foot on third party and say you can't have blood, you can't have this, you can't have that. They fought against all that, right?
Mhm.
People are acting like what we're getting now with Xbox just because they decided to release a couple cell shaded games or cartoon art style that they're going to start blocking all that sort of stuff or any content from their product. They're not going to do that.
Well,
No.
dude, it got people out there thinking like that. It's like people are out there thinking, well, if God of War is coming out this year and Spider-Man's coming out this year, and you look at Detroit, like, why isn't Xbox matching that with more realistic games? It's like these games have been slotted to come out. Like, they weren't looking over at Sony like, oh damn, like a couple years back, like, man, I think they're going to come out with a Spider-Man and a new God of War. We got to get ready and get some ultra-realistic games. It's
Wait,
just
you're saying a publisher doesn't have new game button now, and they can have that? I mean, you're saying these things take 3 to 4 years to plan?
The chips just fell where they fell. If you are interested in Spyro coming out multi-platform, then you shouldn't be bitching about the way Sea of Thieves looks and the way Crackdown looks and stuff like that, man.
Let's be 100 right here. Let's cut the fat to the lean meat. This is what we got to say. If you are caring more about realistic games, you wouldn't give a shit about Spider-Man, because that doesn't look realistic. That looks good. You can't.
It's stylistic.
Yeah, stylistic, but it's still kind of got that. It's got that cartoon looking feel. We're talking about a damn superhero, a man in tights flying around with a web. Get out of here. Also, for you Xbox fans that's talking all this shit, you know what I'm saying? You better buy Hellblade. If you don't, you're a fraud. You're a fraud, because that is one of the most realistic games that you can get right now in the current state of where Xbox is at. If you don't like these cartoony looking games, the game is only $26 damn. You better buy it. You better support it, because I got about like 400 people on my friends list. If I look and I don't see Hellblade on there, for some of those people that's been opening their mouth and saying otherwise, you're a fraud. I'm booting your ass, because I know that you're over here just following the console war bullshit instead of being a real fucking gamer. Real talk.
Ed Torres in the chat, he said, if X was planned years ago, a photorealistic game should have been planned to launch on it. And with that, I will give you that, man. All right, I will give you that. But I will also say that those photorealistic games that we had before the X launched got X enhanced. So you are getting games that show the power of that system, right?
Yes.
And quite possibly you already own them, so you don't have to put out another $60 to see the power of that system. See, that's what doesn't make sense there. But I can see where you're going. I will give you that, man. Okay, like somebody said in the chat right here, Stomp Your Feet. He says, I don't buy games retail price with no replay value. That's fine. I'm not going to knock you for that. I get that. But you know what I'm saying? But I don't know who you are. But don't come to me next week talking about, well, PlayStation got it, because most of their games don't have replay value. You play them, you're done, and that's it, unless you love that game enough to keep playing that game over and over again. But when it comes to just jumping on a game and just having new content and this and that, most of their games don't provide that. So unless the third party.
Well, let's also add a little bit more fuel to the fire. Every time someone
Don's being instigator today.
Every time someone throws something on the fire, it picks on Microsoft as a platform, right? Every time they do that, what happens? Microsoft eventually just proves them wrong. It happens with the E3 show flooring. It happened with the powerful hardware. It happened, with all these different types of things. So every time people try to open their mouth and try to find these narratives, they always eat their words. It always happens. So the question is, is this going to happen at E3? And also we find that there. I mean, I'm not saying there is or there isn't. I'm just saying, what happens if you find out that they do have exclusive first party titles that are more of a mature in content? Then what are they going to say then? That's the thing, is time usually proves these things wrong. And if you have any sort of integrity, you'll see that it definitely happens. And everything is so reactionary to the point that it's silly to me because Microsoft told you what they're going to do. It's not a mystery. They're saying this is what we got for next year, and we'll see you at next E3. Pretty much, that's pretty much in a nutshell what they've told you. So we know what's going to happen between now and E3, and just a smidge more after E3 because we don't know exactly when Crackdown is released.
Let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys a question. Right, one of the big little things that's been going around with and it's about 40, 50 people that at the max that likes to go and bring their little huddle on people for certain games. When the whole thing about wait till E3. Oh, Xbox fans say they got to wait till E3. So I'm going to ask you guys this question: what big AAA games that PlayStation talk about that doesn't acquire a conference, that does where they don't use a conference? Name me a site or saying maybe a PlayStation program or something other than a PlayStation conference that shows their big budget games that's coming out.
Well, they did the God of War special thing, but that's because it's being released soon.
Okay, but where did you see God of War first?
But when did they first announce it?
First announced it was
E3, right?
E3.
E3, right? Where's everybody waits for E3 or a PlayStation conference? There is no other place that you know about what's coming from PlayStation when it comes to big budget titles, unless it's a conference. They just have more conferences. They got PAX. Not PAX, but they got the PlayStation event and that they show in what is it, December, and then they have that Paris show, and then they have E3.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a conference. So what the hell is this? Well, you guys say y'all gotta wait till E3. You gotta wait till E3 too.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Mega, do you see in the chat? Jazzy did a shout out, a super chat. Do you want to read that if you have it available? If not, I will. I'm right on it. Man.
Go ahead, man. Pay the bills,
man. Huge shout out to Jazzy, who is a sponsor of this show, of this channel. He said he needs to up his Patreon. K-Mega and the Don are preaching right now. Next is on fire.
Thank you, Jazzy, man. Always a big supporter.
No doubt.
Man.
And see, here's the deal. And this is when it comes to the realistic thing, because that's the thing that really irks me. And the whole negative doom and gloom thing. But when it comes to the realistic graphic games, all right, guys, don't feed in to something that is nitpicking on Xbox right now that started from people who praised Little Big Planet 3 when that was coming out a couple years back and said that was fire, a game of the year, and it was one of the very few games that came out that year. Those same people are the ones trying to start feeding like these different like propaganda movements, and they're trying to get Xbox gamers in there to be like, you know what? We don't have any realistic games. Just like because we had a light year in 2017, people out there are saying Xbox has no games. How the hell can Xbox One have no games coming out from 2013 and it's 2018?
My wallet says otherwise. It says stop buying games. My old lady say stop buying games, motherfucker. Stop.
Well, it's not even that. Like, I don't think anyone on this panel or anyone listening can say the one upside to this generation, out of all generations, right, is I've never owned so many games this generation.
Thank you.
Than any other. Like, and then, like, I go to my list. I have like 197 games ready to install. Like, doesn't include how many are on my hard drive.
Games ready to install.
Yeah, like how can you say a platform doesn't have anything when I can't? I have a backlog. You can't say a platform has no games when you have a backlog. You cannot even play through your games. There's not enough time in the day to play through your title. So like, let's just be realistic. Let's call a spade a spade. Microsoft has a lot to show this E3. I don't think that's undoubtable.
But they're showing that, like I said, they're working internally, man. They're showing.
Yeah, but I know of a realistic game that's going to be on their platform, and it's going to be on their platform first. It's mine.
Oh,
and that's 2 or 3 years. And you can see some of the artwork on and you can see the artwork on my Twitter profile. Those are assets that are going into my game. Those were rendered unreal. They're rendered on a piece of platform that actually was the same performance profile as your X. So like it's happening. Like maybe that's the reason why I don't think the way that other people do. Like I look at everything as a whole. I don't cherry pick certain things and view it that sort of way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying Sony's got some good games either this year.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Xbox got no games. I have 265 games already in. I got 208 ready to install. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, and then let's take Pred because we haven't heard from him in a while. How many games you got ready to install on your?
I'm actually turning mine on right now as y'all say that.
Because I also know you split your game inventory between PC and console. So in some ways, I'll let Pred speak for himself, but Play Anywhere applies to Pred a lot more, especially as the future goes forward.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Jazzy said he has about 20 to 30% of his games he has not played yet because of a backlog, man.
Same here. I haven't even touched Wolfenstein. I touched Wolfenstein and I just looked at the first maybe hour or so. Wolfenstein. What's the other game? The other two games. Why am I talking when I can just look right here?
Yeah.
the three big titles. The newest Wolfenstein, and then there's Shadow of War, and then there's Assassin's Creed. I haven't even I played them a little bit, but I haven't even got started on them because I have such a backlog.
Dude.
Hold on. I sit there and I put 360 hours plus on The Witcher. I sit there and played The Witcher like a crazy man. Went away for a year and a half, started playing other games, came back because I wanted to see what it looked like on the X, finished it, and now, you know what I'm saying, I'm starting on Final Fantasy 15 because I was waiting for the same thing. And I got over 44 hours on there. And I just play games, and Don can know this. Like I play games and I like to get as much as I can out of it, especially if it's a single player experience, then just rush through and say, "Oh, I beat the game." So I can
you wring it dry.
Huge shout out to Great Skull Zero. And I think this is what he's trying to say. He said basically people are giving other people too much power by playing into that nonsense. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, you got to realize when it comes to certain things, like the games that are coming out this year, they were marked to come out this year for a while. Like, they're not going to sit there and compare other platforms. It's like, oh shit, we need an ultra realistic game. Quick, get Super Dev Team together. We got to go. They're not going to do anything like that. These are the games that are coming out this year. I know me and Crap, we both felt like that one gem that would put this lineup, which is already a good lineup in my opinion, but put it over the top, would have been Halo 6 this year. If Halo 6 was dropping this year, that would be it. This would be one of the best lineups in my opinion in the history of Xbox. But
we all know the opposition that they're going to face with that, right? Like, that's all you guys got is Halo. Right? Like, so that's the thing, is you can predict, it's almost predictable how they're going to react. It's not how we feel. It's how they're going to react and try to basically push that opinion on other gamers that A, are insecure on their stance on their platform, and B, they're insecure about their own platform. Like that's not healthy behavior. These sort of things are just not okay to be doing, as a gamer. Like, I understand if you're young and you're in high school or elementary school, you get a little bit of a pass, right? I mean, because you're learning life. But if you're a full-grown adult and you don't get what people are doing and you're looking for approval of these other people, like, man, I don't know. Like, I can't help you. Like, you're on your own.
I can't help you.
And another thing I was going to say is that another reason why I still keep on buying games is because I know that these games will come with me with the next Xbox. It's just like you trying to tell a PlayStation fan to just throw everything out that they've owned or that they've known with the trophy systems and all the games that they've had with the PlayStation, and just throw it all away and just get an Xbox. Don't have anything else. That is not going to happen. That doesn't make any sense. Or you just saying that to a Nintendo fan. If they are used to how their favorite platform is operating, they ain't going to really never leave it. They may go away for a while, but they're never going to abandon it because that's where they're familiar with. So get over yourselves. I'm an Xbox guy. I'm going to remain an Xbox guy. And tough shit if you think that I'm a corporate slave because I enjoy this platform. I'm sorry.
No doubt. I just
for the record, I have 138 games that need to be installed.
138.
That's not including that. Actually, does not include the ones I've hidden from my list because I've seen them in there. There's more.
But I just want to say, when it comes down to it, like I can see the future. First off, of console gaming as a whole. Now you got to remember, back in the beginning of this generation, certain people like I don't know, Pactor, which I even hate saying his name now, but said that console gaming was dead. Obviously, that wasn't true. I can see the future of Xbox. I can see the positivity. What's going on with Game Pass? Game Pass to me is absolutely revolutionary to the point where I feel that Sony is going to revamp their PlayStation Now to kind of match it as a service like Game Pass when we go into the next generation. So with that being said, what I go against is stuff that is anti-consumer, anti-gamer, media bias, which has been going on, guys. When you have a quality game coming out like Remedy with Quantum Break, and the biggest thing they're talking about is resolution with that game, then you gotta think that the gaming media, they're not what they used to be. Stuff like that. And when it comes to stuff like that, I will put out the truth about that game, future games coming out, and I will let people know what kind of positive things are coming out for this platform. I will also get excited for games that are coming out on other platforms as well. At the end of the day, I am a gamer that prefers Xbox. All right? That's what it is, man.
Facts.
All right. Well, what's up, man?
No, let's finish up, man. I'm good.
I was gonna say, on that note, guys, like that was the main topic. That was something I wanted to get into, guys. Remember the good things that are coming out, and even if you don't like the style of the games that are coming out this year, at E3 you're gonna see what's coming out beyond this year as well. So there's a lot of things to look forward to. But on that note, like a 40,
you need to pay the bills.
Oh, what? I missed it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll read it for you.
All
okay.
Right, thanks, man.
It was a WDFC podcast. Shout out to you guys. Great gaming talk on panel and chat with the best moderator, Lazarus. WDFC, just game. No facts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Good. Thanks for hooking up my boy Bot. You know what I'm saying? Because him and Snaps and them, they deserve it, man. They do good work.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's what it is, man. Try to bring the common sense back into gaming. There is a lot of things getting spun out there, but at the end of the day, you game on what you game on, you play what you like, and with us being on YouTube, we talk about it, man. We talk about the good, we talk about the bad, and we try to get the truth out there, man. That's what it's all about, yo. But like I said, like a 40-year-old with a comb over, man, we gotta get these plugs in. So Predator, why don't you let people know where they can continue this discussion with you as well? Let them know your Twitter handle and what you've been up to, dude.
I've been working, man. Predator_HOS on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam, Switch as well. Follow my channel on YouTube, and if you go to my Twitter account, you can see all my posts and stuff on there as well. I'll see you guys next week, and vote for Pride.
Oh, nice. And as you're saying that, I'm actually putting up the poll. For people who don't know, if you're new to this this podcast, we vote on who had the best gameplay. The voting this week will be between me, Predator, and the Don. I am putting it up on my Twitter right now. Follow me over on Twitter. It's at xbot448. And that's why I'm actually going to go to somebody who has one of the longest outros on the panel. K-Mega, go ahead, take your time, let everybody know where
my time.
Yeah.
Don't forget to beg for your votes.
Just so I can type, man. Just so
okay. So anyway, all right, thank you. Man, you can check me out on of course BGST. If we'll ever have it again, I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But whenever we do have BGST, I will definitely be there. Also, you can see me on the GRG podcast every Friday night after Crossfire. If you guys pay attention to Crossfire, man, thank you guys so much for your support, for us starting our Patreon, for the people that's joined. Definitely, if for the people that jumps in, you'll be in for a raffle to get God of War. Yes, I'm giving away God of War Day 1, or if you don't want God of War, the Ultimate Edition of State of Decay 2, which is a game that we ain't really talked about because that's not no kitty looking game. That game looks better and better every time that they show it.
People say it's kitty because it's colorful, but if you look at the creatures and stuff, oh my goodness!
Some of them kills that they showed, they were showing different type of kills, and they're brutal. There's cussing anyway, but I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so yeah, thank you guys for joining. But come on and join us. Check us out, the podcast, man. We do love your support. Tonight, I will be doing, like I do every Saturday night, we'll be doing Halo night. So we'll be playing Halo 5 for a little while, and then we'll play whatever after that. You know what I'm saying? Intro Media Gaming, big shout out.
Rushed. He doesn't even know what to say when he can take
I know, because I don't want to take all. I was going to take my time, but I was like, man, I got to get off this. But anyway,
I think that Don already voted for himself, man. That was the first one.
And give Pred his first win, man. Give Pred his first win. He deserve it, because next week the games that I'm going to bring, it ain't going to even be a contest.
My Devil May Cry and my
that was dope. That Devil May Cry was dope. You're gonna make me pull that out, man. You're gonna make me pull that out because it's dope. It looked really dope. But yeah, my gameplay next week, games that probably only a few have seen. You know how I like to dig into the archives. But anyway, thank you guys so much for rocking out with us, man.
Yo, Snaps is being such a troll in the chat. But yo, the poll is up. I pinned it to my Twitter homepage. Like I said, go ahead, follow me at Xbox448. Go ahead and vote on that poll, and you know who to vote for. I'm saying. But Don, why don't you bring it home and let people know where people can get a hold of you and what you have been up to, man?
The best way to follow me is on Twitter, which is the Don_KTR, and it's pretty much the same thing on Xbox Live, just no underscore.
Nice. And guys, it is Saturday. You know, the gamers got to get the controllers in their hands. I think I'm going to be gaming with Snaps tonight. She's not out there, peddling them cookies or whatnot. So I don't know what she has planned for me. But guys, I'm going to end the show the way I end the show every week. We will see you next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Game.
Determination to conquer all my ambitions, despite all the conditions. In light of my past decisions, made it to this position, and so my disposition. Not seeing